the internet, and you.
Where were we?
Also known as H3. H3 is 40 years old. He has over Hasan display of total standpoint. He was
If you cared
Okay,
about
let's just start
Medicare
over.
or Medicaid
I think that's about
fraud,
it.
you would kill Rick Scott and not make him a prominent part of the Republican Party.
So Hasan is clearly saying, Mike Johnson, if you actually cared about Medicare fraud, you'd do the opposite of what you've done with Rick Scott because of how egregious of an offender he is. Rick Scott is pretty well known for conducting one of the largest healthcare fraud schemes in US history when he was chief executive at Columbia. So to say Hasan was urging his viewers to kill Rick Scott is an outright lie, and to say it was any kind of death threat would also be pretty fucking stupid. So that's just one
Well,
example.
I think that's like the major problem, by the way, of like all of the anti-Hasan propaganda and even the anti-Denims propaganda. It's all based on like nonsense and like literally lies and misrepresentations.
Of what are very common dishonest attacks on Hasan. There are, of course, genuine criticisms to be made about him, and we'll go over a few of them later. But those tend to get lost in this sea of total hysteria. The widespread derangement that people have for this guy has over time devolved into attacks on anyone he associates with, calls for him to be deplatformed, and people have even become pretty chill with the US government violating Hasan's First Amendment rights. No, I'm not saying you can't dislike the guy, I don't give a shit. The dude preaches socialism and drives a Porsche. Like, I get it. I'm not a Hasan fan, I've literally never even watched a single stream of his, so personally I don't care. But the tendency for people to lose their minds and just make shit up whenever Hasan is involved left me wondering, how did we get here? Ethan Klein, also known as H3H3.
Listen, I think you can good faith the criticism that the guy making this video, Kilo, I think you can good faith the criticism to mean this guy's like, he preaches socialism, but he also engages in like hyper-consumerism, which some would argue is antithetical to socialism. Like, I mean, I think you're stretching it a little bit to make that claim, but I think the claim, and I've said this for a long time, I think the claim, I don't appreciate how hard he engages with consumerism is a salient criticism. I mean, I in general don't like people who engage in hyper-consumerism. Like the best example of this is like buying a wall of Funko Pops or like buying every Stanley Cup. It's like, what are we doing with what are brands are not a personality, man. Come on, dude. Fuck me. But that's like a separate criticism. And this is the thing that's always confused me about like the Hasan derangement syndrome. You can just like dislike him for whatever reason that you want. Like people can dislike me because my camera is too big, and that would at least be honest. You know what I mean? Like that would. Why do we have to get weirdly dishonest? Pokemon cards, guys. I got my first ever Pokemon card. The other. I won't buy Pokemon cards because I'm not a fucking degenerate. But I love having friends that are degenerates. And a friend gave me one of the cards. She was like, I already have a billion of these. It's only worth like $1. Do you want it? I was like, okay. Sure. I like electric Pokemon. Okay.
Is 40 years old. He has a massive following on YouTube, and he's a pretty significant figure in the history of content creation, going back to the early days of React videos.
You know, I read a book a day not to show off. It's again about the knowledge.
By the way, he's got a really interesting technique for reading books, and when he says he reads one book a day, well, let's just say we'll have to redefine the word read.
Have someone else read it for you.
That's awesome. Along with his own content, Ethan's also well known for winning a landmark copyright infringement suit in 2017 filed by Matt Haas, whose video Ethan reacted to. That case was one of the first examples of fair use for React content being successfully argued in court. In 2021, Ethan and Hasan started a podcast together called The Leftovers. It was a political and cultural talk show with a left-leaning slant, and the show was a huge success. Until October of 2023, when a Hamas-led terror attack targeted Israeli citizens. After the attack, Ethan and Hasan went live for an emotional episode discussing the events.
As a father, it's even hard to talk about. This dude was holding his infant. It was like a year old.
Ethan is an Israeli-American dual citizen and feels passionately about Israeli geopolitics. He's also married to Ela, who was born in Israel and served in the IDF. The Kleins actually even met each other in Israel. Hasan, on the other hand, is passionately in support of Palestine, and the resulting ideological differences between the two led to some on-air friction following the start of the conflict.
Bro, stop.
my
Their timing matters.
No,
Let's not be obtuse about this. It's just this one point I'm trying to make. You can't cheer on Hamas, dude.
You know what I said on the day of the occupation.
I know you don't, but like we're being a little silly.
In late October of that year, Ethan announced that the Leftovers podcast would go on hiatus.
I do feel like I'm probably going to pause Leftovers for the time being. Because you know what I mean? It's just, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
And after 61 episodes, the Leftovers podcast never came back. This is when the divide started to form between Ethan and Hasan. Early on.
And the crazy thing too, by the way, is like, I clocked this day one and I said that Ethan easily could have just said, the Palestine-Israel conflict is too close to home for me, and I don't feel capable of engaging with it in a way that is the maximum amount responsible. And so I just don't want to talk about this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if that's disappointing to some of you listeners and viewers. And that would have been like a massive cop-out, and people would have allowed him to do it. Like, that would have been the cop-out of, well, I want to defend some of the things that Israel does, but I can't. So here's what I'll do instead. And people would have allowed it. People would have been like, oh, okay. I guess I understand if you know that, like, this situation is too close to home for you and it's hard to speak about. Okay, sure. Kind of similar maybe to, like, how Russian Americans don't want to talk about, like, Russia and Ukraine. Like, dude, can we not talk about I actually really don't want to talk about how Putin is destroying the reputation of our country. Like, I actually don't want to talk about that. Like, it's actually just depressing. And it's depressing to see people die for a power struggle that those individuals had nothing to do with. You know, like, I can't. What reputation? I'm not going to get into geopolitics on Russia, okay?
For instance, Ethan would take issue with some things that Hasan's chat was saying about him, and he criticized him for not moderating it more effectively.
Do you care that your chat is calling me racist? Do you make any...
You have feelings like that about when people shit on America? Huh? No, no. I don't know. I don't think I do.
Any attempt to modify?
I have not looked at my chat.
Moderate that at all?
I have not looked at my chat at all, but you have
I just opened it, but don't you have moderators? Do you care at all about what your audience says about me?
There's 32,000 people in here right now.
I'm just trying to tell you guys how it feels. And I'm fucking shocked that you don't care that people in your chat are saying, who the fuck is this child, cold, arrogant,
Ethan, I love you, but there's only so much I can do.
How can you be surprised when you're...
To save us time, let's not get too bogged down with specifics.
By far the funniest thing about this video, from the parts I watched, I really didn't want to pre-watch it. I just wanted to watch, like, to get an idea. So I tried to watch as little as possible so we can get a good, authentic, genuine reaction, live react. But the number of times where Ethan kind of constantly says, I didn't really notice it until it was, like, put together in a compilation where he says, like, you need to moderate better. You need to moderate. You need to moderate better. Meanwhile, he never addresses the fact that he never moderates and never has moderated his community. Like, he enjoys the fact that he has a snark community. He just doesn't like it when it happens to him because he's a massive fucking hypocrite. Point in case, the fact that, like, Ethan Klein's own fans, when him and Trisha were, like, beefing or whatever, were writing this shit. I'm going to read it out to you guys. It's actually kind of like one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. 6 months versus 8 months. It's like comparing poop emoji to a rose emoji. At Trisha Paytas, your sister-in-law will always be better than you in every single way possible. Just a quick reminder, she also got the boys you keep trying so hard to manifest. When I see people in this community say gross shit or say weird shit, I immediately disavow it. I have to see it first. It has to be brought to my attention first. Once I've seen it, I will address it because I don't want that type of behavior. I don't want that weird behavior. But it's very funny that the guy who complains that nobody else is moderating their community is the guy who wants his community to be as unmoderated as possible. He enjoys knowing that the people he targets get harassed. I mean, do you guys remember the guy... I don't remember if he was a psychiatrist or a therapist, but the guy that Ian talked to, talked to about Ethan, he literally bullied that guy so hard, he took down the video. Yeah, Dr. Honda. something in Seattle. I don't remember. Psychology in Seattle, maybe? He bullied him so hard, and he literally was telling him, can you please just, like, stop? I think Ethan even showed, like, the DMs or something between the two of them. And this guy, this YouTuber who's just, like, a very normal dude, literally said, like, was messaging Ethan saying, can you make the harassment stop, dude? Like, I tried so hard to make as fair a video as I can. And Ethan's response was, well, I don't know what you want me to do. It's like, you're such a fucking horrible person. You are such a massive piece of shit. Like, you literally don't care that your coverage causes harassment to other people. And then you have the audacity to suggest that other people aren't moderating enough because people are rightfully calling you out when you say stupid shit on Israel.
In a nutshell, over the course of the next year, the divide between Ethan and Hasan grew larger and larger. Ethan and
that's the other thing too. Fungi have also added the added incentive to post shit like this because then Ethan will often post it or share it on the podcast. He encourages it, or on his Instagram story.
H3 community believed that Hasan was promoting extremist, potentially dangerous viewpoints, while Hasan and his community believed that Ethan was becoming more Zionistic over time and subtly spreading pro-Israel propaganda. The two of them would exchange jabs for months, with Ethan commonly taking to Instagram to voice his grievances, like attacking Hasan's moderator and smaller creator Frogan for her radical views, and Hasan in turn would occasionally respond on stream.
There's a difference between anti-Semitism and people coming to the assumption that Ethan might be defending Israel a little bit and therefore might have some Zion.
Ethan might be defending Israel a little bit. Meanwhile, guys, I don't think people know how amazing and multicultural Israel is. So I was thinking about taking a trip with the boys and we could show you guys how beautiful Israel is. And then not even like 6 months later, he's uploading TikToks being like, guys, I just want to say I apologize. I just didn't realize how tone deaf that came off, even though multiple people criticized me for it being fucking tone deaf to talk about how multicultural Israel is while they're conducting a genocide. Can you imagine being like, in like the height of Nazi Germany being like, guys, you don't understand, Germany is actually really multicultural. I don't think people understand how amazing this ethno state is. So I was thinking about taking like a little trip to the ethno state and showing you guys. Are you like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, actually.
Opinions because of the past 12 months centering himself as he looks to ban prominent pro-Palestinian voices off the platform with ridiculous smears that they are being anti-Semitic.
While all this is going on, around the end of 2024, Ethan also began discussing a perceived anti-Semitism problem on Twitch. According to Ethan, Hasan and his associates are prime examples of anti-Semitic content being unfairly allowed on the platform, and he called for Dan Clancy, Twitch's CEO, to step down. We'll talk about this part more later, but I did want to note that this is around the same time that Dan Saltman, CEO of Redact, began his campaign against Twitch's perceived anti-Semitism problem. By the start of 2025, tensions had gotten pretty high. To the extent that the H3 show covered politics, their conversations centered more so around Israel and anti-Semitism rather than the humanitarian crisis in Gaza.
It feels like where it was during the war and the Holocaust. It's reminiscent of that time.
I've always said, like, I have no idea how the Holocaust could happen. It just makes no sense. And now I see it. I see how it happened.
And Ethan would also regularly take to Instagram to go to war with H3 Snark, a subreddit.
What a deranged thing to say, by the way. But she's not talking about the Palestinians. Because I understand you talking about the Holocaust and being like, I never understood how people could allow such atrocities to continue. And now seeing Gaza being decimated, I understand it now. But she's actually just talking about like people not wanting to work with Teddy Fresh. She's like, I get it now. I get it. This is people not working with Teddy Fresh is exactly like the Holocaust. That's exactly, yep. Mm-hmm.
Dedicated to A-logging and talking shit about primarily Ethan and Hila. And in January, Ethan released the Content Nuke, a 102-minute-long deconstruction of Hasan's content, including further allegations of Hasan and those around him being anti-Semitic and essentially promoting terrorism. After the Content Nuke, things started to go off the rails. In March, a pair of noteworthy things happened to Ethan. On one occasion, he had a pair of human skulls ordered online and sent to his house. And on another, a CPS call was made to his house after Ethan shared a story on the H3 podcast about his family contracting a parasite.
Now, I don't mean to spoil anything, but I have to spoil something. This is so far the only person I have seen, I think the only YouTuber I've seen that's actually broken down the events that occurred accurately. Like literally the only person that has done it accurately and the only person who has done it honestly. It's insane.
This morning we got a visit from Child Protective Services. I told this story on the show a few weeks ago about how when we adopted Olive, she had Giardia. And then Sonny started having diarrhea, so we suspected he might have Giardia. Seeing as that he's an infant, he's crawling around, he's putting everything in his mouth, etc.
Then in June of last year, Ethan revealed that he had registered the content nuke with the US Library of Congress, and that he's filing copyright infringement lawsuits against Frogan, Denims, and Casey Tron, 3 Hasan-adjacent creators who, according to Ethan, reacted to the nuke in a non-transformative way. And that's kind of loosely where we're at. What started as a political disagreement has spiraled into 3 copyright lawsuits, a campaign to financially harm Twitch and by consequence its creators, and a long, bitter, and kind of pathetic feud where you will be forced to pick a side. But before you pick a side, while you may feel some sympathy for Ethan because of the very real harassment that he's faced, or maybe you just agree with his takes on Israel or anti-Semitism, we have to make sure we don't forget about the most important thing in the whole situation, which is that when it comes to Ethan's narrative, this is all complete bullshit. If you can look past some of the political disagreement and analyze the Ethan and Hasan conflict in its entirety.
And it's not that the events did not occur, it's that the framing of the events did not occur the way that he told them. And Ethan is such a prolific liar. His audience is straight up they're at the level, I think, of like MAGA hogs, where they kind of just like close their ears and they go la 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 la, not listening when you explain to them that like the foundation is built on lies. Like the premise of all of these things is incorrect. And they eventually completely fold and say, well, I don't care. Those people deserve it.
It's pretty clear that Ethan is an insecure, neurotic, vindictive liar. And his crusades against Twitch and Hasan and subreddits, these are all just dishonest missions to silence people who are saying things about him that he doesn't like. What's worse is that this clown show is being encouraged and facilitated by a host of hacks and other liars around Ethan that have attached themselves to him, sometimes just to further their own dishonest agendas against Hasan. Now, normally I wouldn't really care that much if a bunch of lying freaks all band together to help each other out with their controversies. That's kind of to be expected. But what elevates my distaste for all this stuff, and what should elevate yours, is that standards of behavior that have long been widely held on the internet are being totally abandoned, all in the name of Hasan bad.
The most simple example of this, by the way, is copyright strikes. Do you guys remember when Pokey copyright striked, DMCA'd whatever, one video on her? And how the entire internet considered her to be the greatest evil that ever was and ever had been created? Alinity with PewDiePie as well. And everyone, it was like, you can't just DMCA content because you don't fucking like it. You're a horrible person. Listen, people are going to criticize you and you just have to deal with it. You're making content on the internet. This is just not acceptable. It's not okay to go around DMCAing content you don't like. And I think even XQC got in hot water over this as well at some point, but I might be misremembering XQC for someone else. I think it might have been XQC who DMCA'd someone's content, but I could be mistaken on the person. I think there was a dude that did it as well. But people all agreed you are not allowed to flagrantly abuse the DMCA system and abuse copyright. And that's why people sided with Ethan the first time when he was getting sued for copyright infringement. And all of these rules go out the window for these people because it's like, well, Hasan is bad and these terrorist supporter, and I want all these people to be homeless and I don't care. It's like, this is so pathetic, man. This is like the most pathetic thing I've ever seen in my fucking life.
Historically, things like lying, harassment, calls to the platform, or abusing copyright would get you absolutely torn to shreds. But when it comes to Ethan and all his yes men, everyone all of a sudden seems to be okay with those things. And it's just because of who's on the other side. Ethan Klein isn't the originator of the mass derangement about Hasan, but his situation has given some of the most annoying drama slop tubers the perfect vehicle to pretend to have political opinions, escalate their grudges, and in the process, smash all standards of behavior for political and commentary creators. So today we're going to recognize some of these creators for their contributions to this online culture shift. One where truth doesn't matter, there are no bad tactics, only bad targets, and anything goes as long as you win. These are the Weasley Little Liar Awards.
What I think is the most offensive is the fact that these people will lie to their communities and they'll lie to their audiences and they feel no like shame or guilt about it. It's like, wow, you have so little respect for your audience. You'll completely make up the premise of this and just hope that they don't catch on to you being a complete piece of shit and lying to, like, that's insane.
Starting with Ethan Klein.
This is a lie.
Yeah, it does not look.
This is a disgusting fucking lie. And here on the H3 show, we tell the truth. And soon we're going to be able to do that. So I'm really very grateful and excited for that because I am.
Oh, sorry. Wait, I need to pause it and say inane nonsense and cough a lot for no reason. Hold up.
Honest.
Wait, I have to pause it some more. Hold up.
Dan.
Wait, I have to pause it some more. Hold up.
You know.
Wait, 1 second. I have to pause it some more.
Yeah, no, that I'm
Wait 1 second. Do you guys feel like you're getting a good idea of what is happening in the video because I keep pausing it a bunch?
I would never.
So, like,
I don't
you guys are obtaining information
lie,
from
but
this video,
some people
right?
do lie. Name
You guys are obtaining the information.
one thing I've ever lied about.
Name one thing I've ever lied about.
You can't. I'm allergic to lying.
Bro, I'm truthful in every fucking conceivable way. I feel like I'm honest to a fault. I'm not a liar. I don't believe in lying. I would never lie to you. I've never lied. I am not a liar. I feel like I've never lied
Dude, Hasan, when he's talking about doing gaming streams.
about anything in my whole
I wish you
career.
were more of a liar. It would probably save us a.
When I started researching for this video, I already knew that Ethan had been dishonest about some things throughout his feud with Hasan, but I was a little surprised to learn just how long of a history Ethan has of dishonesty. A very clear and repeated pattern of it, in fact. Now, you'll very rarely catch Ethan in a direct, overt lie. What happens far more commonly is that Ethan will kind of just say things. He makes statements about other people or ongoing situations as though they're a fact, when he has no evidence to be saying the thing that he's saying. For instance, back in 2021, there was this whole falling out between Ethan and his former podcast co-host, Trisha Paytas. During the breakup, Ethan made this tweet where he claimed that Trisha had accused him of sexually harassing her, which it kind of gives off this, like, I'm being falsely me too'd kind of vibe, right? But in the video Ethan's responding to, which is this one, Trisha doesn't really say anything like that. This video is pretty much just about Ethan bringing up topics like her sexual assault, medical history, and other things that supposedly triggered her. Trisha responded to Ethan on Twitter by saying she didn't even think he had watched her video, and given how far off he was, it's entirely possible that Ethan just read the title and went nuts. The only time Trisha even remotely approaches suggesting sexual harassment was when she complained that Ethan was sexualizing her beauty products.
None of it felt right. Being sexualized, my skincare being sexualized, you know, none of it felt right.
After Ethan watched the video,
Which, by the way, I did see this part. Sorry. There's a bunch of stuff that I pre-watched because I'm a pre-watching fuck. If I had a podcast host that did this to this extent, I would be pretty pissed.
How he responded to that claim.
Did she say I sexually harassed her? No, she didn't say that, but she said I was making everything sexual. I was making her beauty products sexual. I feel like she really tried her app. She tried to ruin my life, my reputation, my business.
And this is what Trisha was referring to.
This is your self-love in a bottle.
Why was that sexual?
What?
Look at you're like, oh, like it's like a money shot.
Every
Watch how
morning
she
and
squirts
night.
this shit.
This is your self-love.
Yeah, also kind of phallic.
Money shot. You can't even see where it fucking squirts. Hello? That's literally how soap in a fucking pump bottle works. It doesn't even show up on her hand. Fucking porn brain fuck.
What?
You say, Trish, what's the secret? And then you show like a foul. It looks like a cock.
What?
Balls and cock.
What are you talking about?
Look, 2 balls and a cock. It's like a giant
oh my
phallus.
God. It's the products in the
Bro, it's literally a penis.
I'll come
Is there
bareface.
jizz in your makeup?
If I had a makeup wipe, I'd take
Is
my
there
makeup off.
semen in your makeup?
Huh? What?
Is there semen in your makeup?
No.
I don't even care that Ethan did this.
So fucking weird.
I mean, yeah, that looks like...
Classic comedy, making weird fucking cum and dick and ball and porn brain comments about my co-host.
Dick and balls. But Ethan acted so disgusted at the idea that he would do something like that, and said that Trisha must have been trying to ruin his reputation. The irresponsibility of Ethan's reaction is likely what led to many H3 fans believing that Trisha accused him of actual sexual assault, and they might still believe that to this day. You might call what Ethan did here a false accusation.
He's lying.
But while Ethan did acknowledge that Trisha didn't accuse him of sexual harassment,
Wait, I wanted to read that. I want y'all to know, I know y'all want me to talk about Trisha, but this whole thing is extremely upsetting and disturbing. I'm still processing it. This is a person who I considered one of my closest friends a week ago, who is now making videos accusing me of sexually harassing her. It's too much.
would it really have been that crazy if she had?
Well, a ton of the comments said things like talking about my mom's breasts and asking if
Dude, AB, you really have no spine. You really are. Whoever coined the term absent backbone is so right. If the clip you guys are about to watch, I've tried so hard to keep it from you guys because it's truly the epitome of loser who has no fucking spine, who is not capable of standing up to his boss once and allows his boss to sexually like harass and make all these weird sexual comments about his mom.
I was breastfed because they heard in a previous episode Ethan talking about my mom's breasts in detail.
Her mommy milkers.
Yes, right. Yeah, to quote Ethan, I believe.
So I was hoping you could help me.
I can help you. I'd love to help you,
Okay.
actually. I've actually dreamed of helping you. What happened to your hand, buddy? Jerking off too hard?
If I was AB, dude, I would have like ended the broadcast immediately. And that shit, by the way, he like the guy who made the video, Kilo, he cut it off. That shit was like so long, and he makes like 50 jokes about like how big her tits are and like how he really wants to help her out. And it's just fucking weird. It's so fucking weird. And AB, the little cuck that he is, well, or more accurately, the only dog that Ethan Klein has ever trained, sits there obediently like a good little dog and lets Ethan Klein make as many sexual comments as he wants about his mom. So pathetic, dude. Actually fucking pathetic.
Is that a masturbation injury? She has tried to penetrate him with a strappy.
Stop. Don't need to
Dude, and then this was also such a weird segment as well. Where, I mean, we all know that like Ethan Klein is like, he has a weird psychosexual fanfic that he's written about Anissa and Ian. But that was a weird segment, dude. As someone who's friends with these people, who's spoken to these people intimately, I felt uncomfortable watching Ethan Klein be like, and I'm pretty sure she's pegged him, and I'm pretty sure Ethan like iDubbbz lost his virginity to like a MILF, and then I was like, what the fuck? I feel like a freak watching that. Like I feel like a fucking peeping Tom watching this video. Like I literally had to close those. I was like, this is so weird.
Socialist.
Sorry, you're right. I should. Socialists, shut up. Okay. Josie, thank you for the 10 gifts.
Bring it up all the time.
Well, not all the time. It's what, my third time since I learned about it?
3 days.
There's this guy, Brad the Bull, who's like railing his wife, but that's neither here nor there.
Hasan's the type of dude who watches himself in the mirror when he has sex. That's funny.
Okay, that was weird when you said that.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was funny.
Well, I'm sure, but
it's like
maybe
What was that? I didn't hear it. No. Trash Money, thank you for the 25 gift subs. Let's fucking go. I didn't hear what the alert even was. Anyways, yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, this guy is railing his wife or to other guy's wife. Dude, hell.
comfortable. I don't know. I don't like it.
Just a lot of volume. Because when you're eating pussy, you need to make sure that.
Oh, you went to Italy for how long?
4 weeks.
You went to Italy. You guys stayed in touch. No strange Italian dick, I'm assuming.
No.
Have you seen your dad name?
Literally absent backbone. Literally absent backbone. AB sitting there like the little cuck that he is, watching his boss ask his wife if she had any Italian dick on vacation. Like, dude, you're pathetic. You are pathetic, actually. Christ almighty. Don't even. I was about to say, don't even try and respond, AB, because nobody wants to hear you stumble around with your words and then blame it on like your ADHD or your Adderall or whatever. But actually, it's entertaining, so please go for it. Please. You like to listen to commands, right? That's why Ethan is your boss. Okay, now roll over. Now get really mad and start driving while you watch my clips. Okay, now get pulled over by a cop. Good boy. Good boy. Now clean up the poop, all right?
Naked. Does Ian walk around naked? If you had privacy, would you walk around naked? Butt ass naked?
By the way, Anissa reached out. She wants to meet at the Motel 6 tonight at 11.
Excuse me?
Because I'm going to fuck him for her? Because she's the cuck?
You know, the first time that you made the Anissa the cuck joke, it hit really good.
Well,
and I feel like each subsequent one, we're getting further and further.
What was wrong with the one with that? I thought that
it just sounded weird. Kind of creepy.
Okay, if you're going to constantly joke around like that with people you...
Dan's getting a pay cut. Feel it. Joel, thank you for the 10 gift subs, by the way. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for the gift sub to Season Ace.
know personally, including your own employees. You don't get to react like this when you think one of them might be accusing you of sexual harassment. Anyway, that was just one of what might have been many potential examples of Ethan misrepresenting things during the fallout with his former co-host. But their breakup was a total shit show, and it's possible Trisha isn't the most reliable person either.
You know, guys, I actually went back and watched because I had never seen it. A month or two ago, I don't remember, the final episode of Frenemies. I had never seen any of Frenemies, and I didn't actually know how it ended or not, and like how exactly it ended. So I was like, let me go like see it. I'm kind of curious. And I went and I watched it, and it is like a giant shit show. It's like repeatedly over and over again. Trisha's saying like, can we please end the show? And he's like, well, you can walk off. And she explicitly says like, well, I don't want to walk off. And what she's trying to say is, it's going to make me look like a triggered loser, like a triggered feminist woke cell or whatever. And then you're going to sit here and make jokes about me leaving. Can we end it like mutually? Like we both end it the way that we normally end it. I don't want to leave and then start feeling my feelings. And then you're sitting there like cracking jokes about it. And then I'm going to be too discombobulated to get back on. Like, can we just end it correctly? And he just drags out the torment on her for literally no reason other than I guess he just enjoys putting salt in the wound.
So maybe you're willing to give Ethan some grace with this one. Understandable. But what about the defamation lawsuit that was filed against Ethan by Ryan Kavanaugh? In 2021, Ethan was sued by Triller, which one of Kavanaugh's companies had a controlling interest in. The lawsuit was related to the H3 podcast, streaming clips from a boxing match between Jake Paul and Ben Askren, which was a pay-per-view event that Triller owned the exclusive rights to. Now, Ethan did admit to pirating the fight in DMs with Philip DeFranco, saying that he didn't want to financially support Jake Paul.
You can say that I did not want to support a credibly accused blank, but I did not broadcast the link, only watched what was readily available. I thought, wait a minute. I thought it shouldn't be allowed, and Ethan Klein is only filing the 3 lawsuits that he filed to help curb React content because you can't make malicious comments. You shouldn't be able to make malicious comments. Like the fungi right now are like, well, it's different if you said it in a DM to somebody else, then it's okay.
Who'd been credibly accused of sexual assault. But the lawsuit was specifically for copyright, especially given that Ethan had shown on screen an unlisted link to a full upload of the fight. Ethan objected strongly to this lawsuit, essentially suggesting that it was frivolous and he was being unfairly singled out. One thing he noted was that Triller had been dropping most of their other lawsuits against actually potentially illegal restreaming sites. But most of those sites, they didn't have strong evidence against, whereas Ethan broadcast the fight and a link to it on a recorded live stream. Triller also made it known that they would be taking an aggressive approach to suing people who pirated or redistributed their product, and Ethan wasn't the only content creator they pursued to that end. But his frustrations and public statements about the case led to a series of additional lawsuits between him and Triller, which
I could be mistaken. Someone can double check for me just to be sure. There were a couple of lawsuits with regard to Triller. The most famous one that people know about is that Ryan Kavanaugh eventually sued Ethan Klein for defamation, and all we know is that a settlement came out of it after many long years where Ethan Klein, at the very end of it, apologized and said, you know, I apologize for treating you that way. You did not deserve that. You didn't comments. And honestly, it was just kind of mean. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Ryan. And really, no, Dan, I'm serious, Dan. I can only read off the script. Like, we really cannot defame him. Like, we really can't. Like, and implied that it would be, I don't know, maybe a bit expensive. But he totally didn't get owned, by the way. But I'm pretty sure he also did win the copyright case. Oh, shocker, despite saying he didn't want people to support Jake Paul. Oh my God, which again, this guy is like the only YouTuber I've seen that's actually described copyright and like fair use accurately.
Chose to respond to by beginning to disparage Ryan Kavanaugh on the H3 podcast for months on end. Ethan would go live and vent his frustrations with Triller and Kavanaugh dozens of times over the course of the next several months, but the attacking quickly started to veer into pretty weird territory. Ethan became quite fixated on Ryan's ex-wife, for instance, and he'd routinely do bits on the show about her and her new husband, including detailed descriptions of their hypothetical sexual activity.
Look how big the bull is, though, man. He probably plows the shit out of her, dude. Brad fucking rails her hard. Imagine getting railed by that, dude. Your wife is getting railed by a giant fucking Israeli dude with jacked, huge Jewish cock, and your wife loves it. So you stand in the closet and listen as your dick is in a cock cage
And while we're here, I think it's worth noting that Ryan separated from his ex-wife in 2020, a year before the lawsuit was even filed. So she and her new husband had absolutely nothing to do with it. But Ethan and his community...
By the way, but if you make fun of Teddy Fresh merch, you're literally anti-Semitic. If you say Teddy Fresh looks like color-blocked clothing for child, adult, toddler, millennials, you are literally doing anti-Semitism. You are literally doing anti-Semitism to say you don't like Teddy Fresh.
Had no hesitation in involving her in their smear campaign against her former husband. And when I say involved, I mean directly. The incessant mentioning of Kavanaugh's ex-wife led H3 fans to start brigading her and her new husband's Instagram page, where they left tons of very weird and hypersexual comments.
I was probably getting 20 to 30,000 death threats. He started telling them to go after my ex-wife, who's my best friend and mother of my child. She was getting death threats. They were just, I mean, it was to the point where I couldn't ignore it anymore.
And again, these two were not involved in the lawsuit in any way whatsoever. But not only that, Kavanaugh himself claims to have had almost nothing to do with it personally.
And it went after, I don't know, 5 or 6 sites. I kind of wasn't involved. I just, knew they were doing it. And then one day, someone called me and said, this guy's like just trashing on you on his podcast. I'm like, I've never heard of this guy. Why would he be doing that? And they're like, they say you're suing him. And I'm like, I've never heard of him. Why would I sue him? Needless to say, I kind of ignored it. And then over the next month, they're like, this guy's done like 30 podcasts on it. And then it was like 50.
Ethan and the H3 crew even went so far as making an entire website dedicated to comparing Kavanaugh to convicted rapist Harvey Weinstein.
Or a website about Ryan.
Which, by the way, guys, I will say, if you want like a funny read, you guys can go ahead and look at like some of the filings from the Kavanaugh suit. Again, just like as a summary, Kavanaugh eventually filed a defamation lawsuit against Ethan Klein because Ethan Klein kept suggesting that Ryan Kavanaugh was running a Ponzi scheme. So he's accusing him of a crime. And the filing, some of the instances of like the defamatory and repetitive behavior, like the list is so long. Like, here's Ethan making this statement. Here's Ethan making this statement. Here's Ethan making a website saying, does Ryan Kavanaugh look like Harvey Weinstein? Here's this statement where Ethan says this. Here's this statement. Here's this statement. Here's Ethan selling merch that has a photo of Ryan Kavanaugh that says guilty. And it's like, it just went on and on and on and on.
Kavanaugh.
Does Ryan Kavanaugh look like Harvey Weinstein?
Oh, that's
Kavanaugh,
the one.
American.
To date, Ryan Kavanaugh has been mentioned on the H3 podcast in at least 156 different episodes, many of which came after Ryan retaliated against them by filing a defamation suit.
Relevant. Logan, we gotta wait. We gotta wait until the reveal. Okay.
Against Ethan. That case specifically cited comments that Ethan repeatedly made about Ryan's business operating as a Ponzi scheme, which Ethan sourced from a 2019 article from Variety. The issue there is that Variety had amended this article within 24 hours after it was posted, including a full retraction from the original person who called Ryan's business a Ponzi scheme. Now, it seems like this case was ultimately settled outside of court, but Ethan was forced to issue an on-stream apology after the court rejected his motion to dismiss the case, finding that he had been aware of the retraction.
Not just rejected the motion to dismiss the case, all of the appeals were rejected as well. The anti-slap motion was rejected 3 times, I think. Yeah, legal squash.
But repeatedly restated the false assertion anyway over the following months.
You're a liar, you lie.
I skipped some of the crazier details about this story, like how Ethan supposedly paid editors to constantly monitor Kavanaugh's Wikipedia page and insert more negative information about him.
They said I won this lawsuit against the guy who propagated it and who's paying to have all these editors do this. The appeal will be held this summer and he'll have to take it all down. We went to a mediation and he agreed to even do it, which is why I know I already knew he controlled it, but he admitted it.
But either way, even if you think Trisha is a crazy person, or Ryan Kavanaugh is an asshole, Ethan has still shown that he's willing to misrepresent claims, falsely attribute things to others, and even outright defame people that he doesn't like. This kind of stuff is a favorite pastime for Ethan. He likes to jump to conclusions and just say shit about people, often with no evidence. He implied or outright suggested that Dan Clancy and Taylor Lorenz were pedophiles for like no reason. He wrongly accused the Wall Street Journal of doctoring photos and then had to walk it back, while he himself has routinely had issues with sharing fake or doctored social media posts and passing them off as real, and he's shown a willingness to contort and misrepresent events in his life whenever it suits his purposes, which is what he's doing now in his war against Reddit, Twitch, and Hasan.
Yeah, this is anti-Semitism right here. This is classic anti-Semitism. Streaming on the anti-Semitism platform, I can tell when something is anti-Semitism or not. This is classic anti-Semitism. How do I know you're not just saying all of this stuff just because he's Israeli? Just because he has Israeli citizenship? How?
The harassment that me and Hila are receiving is just genuinely unfucking comparable. Like nothing I've ever dealt with. And to the point where I don't know how it's allowed on Reddit. Like an organized harassment campaign spreading across multiple subreddits, targeting like two specific people. It's so fucked up. And once again, to remind everybody that Reddit has no problem with this community that exists solely to do the most insane, unhinged.
By the way, saying this when like the H3H3 Productions subreddit is literally just like a Hasan hate subreddit. Like, I haven't looked in a while, so it's possible it's since changed. Maybe they've changed their ways. Maybe they've moved on. But there is a period of time where it was like every day there were minimum like 5 Hasan hate posts. Every day. Every day.
Unacceptable harassment campaigns you can possibly imagine. On the internet.
It hasn't changed? Oh, okay.
Today, people think they can say anything they want about me. And by the way, her posting this is continuing the defamation and this whole like snark narrative that they're trying to make like mainstream.
And by the way, they're part of the harassment campaign that I can't believe is so big. They're misrepresenting everything I said. They're mischaracterizing, like taking things out of context, fucking, like you guys are part of that harassment campaign, you scumbags.
Saying this when he literally chopped my video up and then I had to put a timer on the video is amazing. It's just, truly.
Since the Leftovers podcast ended, Ethan has spent almost 2 years trying to convince the online world that he is the victim of a massive organized harassment campaign, which is being spearheaded by Hasan and his surrounding network of evil harassers, or something like that. This harassment narrative itself is being pushed pretty effectively by Ethan, and he's received quite a lot of support from across the internet. So while he's been aggressively retaliating against his enemies, like his use of
And I wouldn't even argue that he's gotten a lot of support. I would argue that a lot of people haven't said anything because they don't want to be the next target of harassment by Ethan and his community.
Legal system. To many, it's understandable.
The problem is that I kind of like hate people who are blatantly bullies, and the targets that they pick for their bullying are total fucking bullshit. Oh no, you're gonna call me a whore. Oh, I've never heard that before. Oh, geez.
Or even justified. But is Ethan's narrative accurate? To answer that, let's go back to the beginning of the Ethan and Hasan feud, back in late 2023. You'll remember from earlier that one of the first major sources of tension between the two was Ethan being upset at things that Hasan's chat was saying about him.
Do you care that your chat is calling me racist? Do you make any attempt to modify?
I have not looked at my chat.
Moderate that at all?
I have not looked at my chat at all.
The thing with this argument is, first of all, I don't know what Ethan expected Hasan to do about a chat that looked like this. Like, look at this shit. But more importantly, Ethan seems to not understand that you are the only person who is responsible for the things that you say on the internet. It's nobody else's job to protect you if audiences and comment sections have a negative reaction to the things that you're saying. The backlash that Ethan's been getting online from communities like Hasan's, it doesn't just unfairly come from nowhere. It is a direct response to controversial ideas that he and Hila have expressed after the conflict in Gaza started.
The reason why people are saying that is because of the conflations that you made, Ethan. I can't stop people from viewing you a certain way if you're gonna make these comparisons that they've heard from actually racist people.
Now, to be fair to Ethan, he has repeatedly expressed support for Palestine and condemned the actions of Israel during the war.
What is happening in Gaza is disgusting, and it needs to stop immediately.
But the Kleins have also often shown a tendency to couple these general condemnations of Israel with things like flowery praise about the country and how free it is.
What I want to do is
Just let him
show
cook.
you
Let him
guys
cook.
how I see it.
Let him cook.
How beautiful, how multicultural, how like free it feels for people,
or highly incendiary statements about people who were saying Free Palestine too closely to October 7th.
When you come out and say Free Palestine after they just lost everybody, that's not what you should be saying right now.
And I'm Free Palestine too, right? It's just the timing. I know what it is. You're saying I support Hamas. I mean, that's what you're saying. I'm just saying don't cheer for terrorists. I don't think that that's a crazy take. If you think it is, then let's go invite the Iraqi
I
terrorists.
decided to make Free Palestine mean I love Hamas. So you are being anti-Semitic now.
Who are exacting revenge to come to your city block and kill every fucking one you love. If you think Hamas is dope, just remember, you deserve to be burned alive by terrorists and your whole family murdered in front of you.
Ethan's also been criticized for spreading misinformation about important historical events regarding Palestinian suffering, or for uncritically accepting negative stories about their combatants.
H3 promoted the beheaded babies myth extensively, for example, and has not retracted since.
I will say one really amazing thing about this entire arc was having the debate between him and Sam Cedar, and having that one moment where Ethan tells Sam Cedar, you know, they don't even have bomb shelters. Hamas doesn't even let them have bomb shelters in Gaza. And Sam is like, okay. First of all, okay. Second, do you think Israel would let them have bomb shelters? Like, you're not that stupid, right? You're not so stupid that you don't realize that Israel would immediately say that those were bomb shelters for Hamas agents, right? Well, I just thought it was interesting. Don't you think that that's interesting? Dude, stop. Well, Hasan said, I don't care what Hasan said.
Being overly skeptical or just rejecting negative stories about Israel.
I mean, listen, that's a huge claim. 15 Palestinian women were raped. I couldn't really find a lot of evidence to back it up.
I understand why Ethan's brain would.
Which again, by the way, like this is, I think, the root of a lot of the reason why people viewed Ethan's rhetoric as not being pro-Palestine, because when there's any report on Israelis doing rape and Israeli pro-rape rallies and systemic use of rape as a means of torture in Israeli prisons against Palestinians, he's like, well, that doesn't seem right. I know Israelis, and I know that they wouldn't do that because they've never said that they wanted to do that to me. So I know that can't be right. That can't be right. And the second you say something that is factually true, which is that the UN report on October 7th did not find any credible reporting on systemic use of rape as a tool. The second you point that out, it's like, well, you clearly think that all Israelis need to explode and you love rape. It's like, what the fuck? What are we? I'm just reporting on what's actually happening. Hello? Oh my God. Kilo has now officially called CBS and mailed skulls to Ethan based on the previous patterns. Yeah. Hey, I'm not super familiar with you, but I do know the type of person Ethan is, and I think what he's doing is disgusting. Best of luck to you. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Operate this way, and it's not like there's anything immoral about having a bias. But obviously at a certain point, after Ethan makes enough comments like this, to a lot of people, he's gonna start to sound like he's defending Israel a little bit, like kind of reflexively.
They could have held a ceasefire at any point. They could have ended it after a week.
I mean, Hamas could have ended the war anytime too.
How could have Hamas ended the war?
By releasing the hostages?
Hamas offered all the hostages in agreement for Israel not coming into Gaza. To defend Israel's actions.
That's not true. That didn't happen. When I'm presented with factual things that did in fact happen.
Didn't happen either.
Yes, it did. This type of thing is why people think that Ethan and Hila are running defense for Israel. And there are dozens of examples of this. There's Hila essentially saluting IDF pilots on Instagram after
Israel. This was insane. Excuse you, Kilo. This is defecation. She apologized for making that post. For saying female pilot who participated in the attack on Iran. Israeli women are heroes.
Strike on Iran. Or there's also her referring to former Israeli Minister of Defense Yoav Gallant as a really good guy, a man who is.
She apologized for that.
currently wanted by the International Criminal Court for war crimes, including directing attacks on civilians. Nobody made her say that. Nobody made Ethan defend it. But the clients seem to want to endlessly make comments on this very controversial subject and expect to never be attacked for the things that they're expressing. They think that because they say the words, "We support Palestine," that the people that criticize them must just hate Jewish people.
He's watching the same clip over and over, retweeting like psychopathic anti-Semites. There's no other explanation for these people being so.
And there's a piece later that goes over it, but the other thing that Ethan Klein loves to do is get upset when people use his words back at him. Like Hila will say, "I went on a raid to Ramallah," and then people say, "Raider of Ramallah." And she's like, "That's not how, why are you spreading these lies about me? This defamation about me?" It's like, you literally said you went on a raid to Ramallah. This is anti-Semitism. It's like, what the fuck? Okay, man.
Weirdly obsessed with her.
To a lot of people, Ethan saying genocide is bad is probably not adequate. Genocide being bad is obvious. That's the default position. To them, this situation would be kind
calling Ramallah a terrorist city is like
of like someone saying rape is bad and then talking about how much they love Bill Cosby.
After people have some of my barbecue sauce, after a while when it kicks in, they get all huggy-buggy.
Jesus. Anyway, you get what I'm trying to say. The point is that Ethan and Hila are the ones choosing to put this stuff on the internet. Like during the height of what many people consider to be a genocide by Israel, Hila posted on Instagram last February, showing off her new blue Star of David tattoo. You know, like the one on the Israeli flag. Now yes, blue is a traditional color in Judaism, but a lot of that is because of its appearance on the flag of Israel. There are a lot of people that understandably are not going to like an apparent show of support for a country that's been accused of
what I read online, what I learned in boating school is a big reason why the Star of David is associated with the color blue is because of the Israeli flag. And that historically, it wasn't frequently or consistently blue. So, just, okay, moving on. Razington, thank you so much for the 10 gift subs. Thank you.
Using chemical weapons near civilians or opening fire on people waiting for aid. But here's how Ethan responds to negative comments on Hila's post about her tattoo.
Obsessed with you guys when you only had 15K subs. Glad that's behind me. Enjoy hell. This guy's for real. Joe Coop. Look this guy up. Enjoy hell.
Famously, no one has ever told someone else to go to hell because they don't like them. Every time you tell someone go to hell, you piece of shit, it's because it's anti-Semitism.
He said, enjoy hell.
Yeah. No, I mean, they think I'm actually the devil.
Here he is. If anyone, let's see if I know, can identify him at all. Which one's Joe? Let's see. I think it's this guy. Trust me, when I see an anti-Semite, I know I can spot him.
Wow. Spot him from a crowd.
That's him. So I don't know if you guys all know that, but your friend Joe here actually is a fucking...
Also, this part sends me. Judaism doesn't even have hell. Why is he so mad? Do Buddhists get this mad at being told to go to hell? Oh, well, you wouldn't understand because you're another anti-Semite. Okay? All right? See, this is a classic sign of anti-Semitism. Smiling. Yeah.
Giant racist piece of shit. And like he likes to tell Jewish people they're going to hell on Instagram, on his public profile. I don't know if any of you guys know him, but certainly anyone who would employ him or probably even his parents would be pretty disappointed to see that. Although who knows? Here's his mom. I'm not going to click that for her. I'm not, you know what? Fuck him. This is what you... Here's your mom. I wonder if she knows what you do on social media on your free time. You love your mama.
And by the way, this guy actually talked about how the school that his mom works at started getting bomb threats because of this. Classic comedy podcast. Classic comedy podcast is when a guy tells your wife to go to hell. So you harass him, dox him, show a photo of his mom, say, actually, fuck you. And then his mom is getting bomb threats at the school that she works at. That's a classic comedy move. That is a classic comedy podcast move. And then his sister, who was underage, started getting rape threats and saying Hamas would rape you, by the way. Hamas would rape you on her Instagram. A 16-year-old girl was having Ethan Klein fans telling her that Hamas would rape her. That seems proportional. And that definitely seems like a classic comedy podcast. Classic comedy podcast is when you harass someone, dox them, and then their underage sister starts getting rape threats about how Hamas is going to get her. And his mom starts getting bomb threats at the school she works at. That's classic comedy, man. Classic.
Good thing
Israelis are famously really good with proportional damage. That's true.
she's not Jewish, hey, Joe? I love it.
And yeah, Ethan's producer cuts away from the Instagram feed there so that Ethan doesn't blast the guy's mom to his thousands of viewers. This clip comes across kind of deranged to me, but it gives you a little bit of a window into how Ethan's mind works. To him, people can't simply be having a response to controversial statements or things they themselves have put out there. It must be because of anti-Semitism or bigotry. And ultimately, I think the reason why Ethan reacts this way is because in reality, he cannot stand being criticized.
There's been a lot of
This is probably one of the most damning, pathetic clips of Ethan that exist out there. It's actually really sad. It's almost sad enough that it makes you feel bad for him, and then you remember that he's a huge piece of shit and you don't have to feel bad for him. Joel, thank you so much for the 5 gift subs. What the heck? Thanks.
criticism of me of late. There's been a lot of people that have said lots and lots of videos. I have a natural aversion to criticism specifically, which is something that I've been learning about myself through therapy, which I've started recently.
Ethan cannot help himself from reading comment sections, Reddits, tweets about him. He obsesses over how he's being perceived, and he compulsively responds to almost anybody that's critical of him. And he has a long history of this temperament. As a quick example, there was this
Oh man, there's this one clip. I don't have it. I have no way of knowing how to find it, but it's an amazing clip. Because I used to think about it. I was like, I really don't understand how you can like use the internet this much and like stalk your online presence this much and be normal. Like, I don't think it's in general, if you make any content on the internet or you exist as like a public figure on the internet, it's really not healthy to overly consume content about yourself, because it's like, unless you're doing it and you're having a good time and you're having some laughs, you really shouldn't engage, because it's not really like beneficial. Like when I'm looking at my tweets or like I'm looking at replies in my tweets, I like to look at them with friends, because it is really funny. It'll be like, Denims, yay, Denims, I love you, Denims, blah, blah, blah. Like Slay, waste his stat. And then it'd be like, your fucking lawsuit is gonna bankrupt you. And then you're gonna be homeless. And then you're gonna go to prison. And why doesn't anyone care about that? It's like, what world is this? Not the funniest thing on the planet. And then you go to their profile page and it's like, I'm just a fat, stupid fucking chud and nobody loves me and my mom is making me move out of my basement. It's like, okay. Yeah, I don't have to, Okay. This is just funny. It's just funny. It's just funny. But if you're sitting there scrolling like the I miss the old iDub subreddit because you're still mad that Ian made a video about you years later? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I that's like pathetic. It's like, it's actually pathetic. Like, it's actually unbelievably pathetic. It's like, it's actually mentally ill. And he's not, and I was like, how can you do that and be normal? And then there's this one clip. I don't have these clips. I don't save these clips, so I don't have it on hand. But there's this one clip of Ethan, and he says like, someone saying, I think someone writes in the chat or something. I don't remember what happens. Why don't you just try being like, having fun or something like that? And he says, I don't know how to do anything else. I don't know how to be anything else. This is who I am. I'm depressed. I'm mad. I'm angry. It's amazing. It's such a great clip. And if someone has it, I'm not doing it justice, really. So I would love to watch it with you guys. But the point is, until that clip, I was like, how can you be normal and like browse and spend so much of your time engaging with hate content like about you, or like snark content about you or whatever, and seemingly like he cares about it, like he really cares about it. And it's like, oh, you can't be normal. You can't. I see comments about me and I think that they're genuine. I think that they're so funny sometimes that I send them to other people and I'm like, dude, this is insane. Like, this is so fucking funny. But it's always incidental. That's why sometimes people in chat will be like, did you see this new poop YouTuber? Just, the meme format that's like, who is Mr. Shit or something like that? What happened to Mr. Shit? This. Why is YouTube this meme? Come on, load. Why isn't it loading? This image is like
socialist.
I'll just save the image. I don't know why it's not like loading, but I'll just save it. And then it's loading in Google, but it's not loading anywhere else. Why is half of YouTube filled with 47-minute long videos that look like this? What happened to Mr. Shit? And sometimes people in chat will be like, offliners or onliners will be like, Denims, did you see like Mr. Poopface just made a hour video on you? It's like, dude, I'm not watching that shit. I don't care. I don't care what that guy's entire page is filled with nothing but Hasan is 500% done. I automatically don't have to respect his opinion. Now, if you guys told me H-Bomber guy made a video on me that was like shitting on me, I'd be like, damn, okay, I actually have to watch this because it probably does have genuine criticism in there. Like someone whose opinion I actually fucking respect, who actually makes really good videos, that actually makes really good criticism of people. I'd be like, okay, yeah, I want to watch that. I want to learn from that. But it's like the worst slop tuber that has ever slopped. It's like, I'm not watching this garbage, dude. I'm not watching this garbage, man. I can't do it. I have to go play Heroes of the Storm, okay? I have to go reinstall League of Legends and then fucking feed in bot lane, man, okay? I have much better things to do with my time. All right. Continuing.
Call on election night that Ethan had with Philip DeFranco, where Ethan, for like literally no reason, awkwardly tries to force into the conversation how people on the internet just hate him because he's Jewish.
Well, I don't know if you knew this about me, Phil, but I'm Jewish. Yeah, it's pretty controversial, but yeah, I could go into detail. Do you want to? I could go into all the details. It sounds like he wants to get into it. It sounds like you want to get into it.
No, thank you.
And then immediately after getting off that call, Ethan goes out of his way to pull up Philly's chat and whine about things people are saying about him.
Okay, be good, be good. Yeah. All right. Nothing gets me excited like seeing Philip DeFranco's chat call me an El Zionist Nazi, free Palestine. Ethan, you can migrate to Israel.
And finally, when he gets criticized by the crew for killing the vibe of the podcast, this is how he responds.
How the fuck did I kill the mood?
Bruh.
What the fuck did I do?
You killed the mood.
Yeah. Why? How?
But with your calling Phil and bringing up all kinds of negative
That
stuff.
was fucking awesome.
Oh my god, why is he screaming?
I thought it was a fun call.
Yeah, what the fuck? What's happening? What is this world we're living in? What's happening right now? Tell me how.
I told you.
Tell me how.
I don't have a way to get through to you then.
There's
I'm just
no
depressed
shot. That
now.
call was awesome.
I didn't feel awesome coming off that call.
Why?
I'm just telling you.
Was that call awesome?
Because it turned into you just complaining about his chat. Everybody, like, they fucking hate you and they're spamming it or whatever.
He brought it
Ethan's
up.
obvious ruminating on criticism shows up in a lot of places. He left Twitter in favor of Instagram, probably because stories don't have comment sections. H3 also seems to
He explicitly said that he was tired of getting criticism.
often heavily filter or disable comments on episodes that they think might get some pushback. And I've also recently found that the H3 podcast commonly cuts out entire sections of their live streams, even sometimes way after the fact, seemingly in response to criticism, which I guess they do have a right to do. But I will say, as someone who's currently trying to criticize them, it's pretty fucking irritating. But all this is to say, Ethan isn't a fan of being criticized at all. And when he started facing a lot more negative scrutiny after October 7th, it seems like he wanted Hasan to exert sweeping control over his entire audience's perception of him. And despite how unrealistic that is, Hasan still tried.
Ethan is not your enemy. You should not yell at Ethan. Ethan is my friend. I think he's an
It's crazy too, because Ethan was making like daily Instagram stories and bringing him up on the podcast like at least every other day on like the H3 show every other day. And Hasan like just ignored it for like the longest time. And then he finally was like, dude, okay, fine. I will talk about it once. And then that like sent Ethan into a spiral.
pathetic person. I will always stand by Ethan's ability to empathize and want to learn and want to change his perspective. Changing your perspective on an issue that is like near and dear to your fucking heart is virtually impossible. I will forever have respect for him for doing that on his own. You need to, as a community, also stop fucking ripping into Ethan non-stop.
But it was never quite enough for Ethan.
He genuinely hates you, bro. I know he does. I wish him well regardless.
And eventually, Ethan declared war on all things Hasan, which brought us to where we are now. Now,
Yeah. Have you talked about Hasan with about his behavior back then? I mean, like, kind of. It's just like what's there to say? Like, you had this podcast with this guy, and then he like lost his shit, and then he blamed you for people criticizing him. Like, then what the fuck do you do? Like, literally, what do you do? Also, I'm sorry I missed it. Flocky, thank you for the 10 gifties. Let's go. Thank you. Thank you so much.
what Ethan could do is he could stop reflexively defending Israel. He could stop commenting on the issue altogether. Maybe he could reflect on and internalize some of what people are telling him. Or he could change nothing and just accept that some people on the internet are going to have a problem with it. But of course, he hasn't done any of these things. Ethan has instead chosen to lie. He's built this myth of a mass harassment campaign against him, and he's using this lie to try to financially harm Twitch, change Reddit policy, and abuse the court system against the people that he holds responsible for his decline in popularity. The three main things that Ethan's been dishonest about are H3 snark, the CPS call, and the copyright lawsuits. Let's start with snark.
Wait, sorry, I want to just...
The three main things that Ethan's been dishonest about are H3 snark, the CPS call, and the copyright law.
Yes. Yes. And it really is crazy to me that like none of these people care that Ethan just like directly lies to them. Like, I feel like I would care if I found out that like my favorite streamer or my favorite podcaster was just straight up misrepresenting situations because they wanted to be a perpetual victim. And he like doesn't, they just like don't care. It's so weird. Shy Tempo, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, Raiders. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, Raiders. Got the full Monty, I know. You did see. She did see.
Suits. Let's start with snark. After the leftovers ended, the growing rift between Ethan and Hasan's communities sparked increased activity on the H3 Snark subreddit. For those of you that don't know what snark means, here's a quick overview. Snark communities are online groups dedicated to sharing negative or critical content about a figure that the group is centered around. That's it. They're basically just groups of people who dislike an influencer or a public figure, and they talk shit about them, laugh about them, criticize them. That's all it is. H3 has had their own snark community since early in 2023, but as Ethan's content became more political and as the feud with Hasan began, it gradually started growing in popularity. Now, it should be noted that most of these places, especially on Reddit, have strict rules against crossing the line. They typically moderate against posts that encourage or facilitate harassment, such as doxing, and the ones that don't usually don't last very long on the platform. You can always find psycho people who engage in poor behavior in literally any online community, even fan ones. But this doesn't mean the community itself is an issue. For this reason, as a concept, snark seems mostly harmless. But Ethan doesn't see it this way, and even since before the leftovers ended, Ethan has taken massive issue with his own snark community, and he essentially considers them to be headquarters of the harassment campaign that he believes he's facing.
H3 Snark, which is a subreddit dedicated to not even like feedback, like just blatant fucking horrific harassment and like defamation.
So what exactly is Ethan referring to when he talks about this organized harassment and defamation campaign? Honestly, it's a little difficult to say. Ethan's been historically pretty non-specific in his complaints about snark, but he has on occasion pointed out a few hard examples, so let's look at some of those. So here's a post from a little over a year ago, speculating that Teddy Fresh, the client's clothing brand, potentially plagiarized the design of a new release, because in addition to the visual similarities, the senior designer for Teddy Fresh previously liked the post from the designer they're alleged to have stolen from. Here's Ethan talking about this post on stream.
On the Snark subreddit, the top post right now is dedicated to identifying and harassing non-public Teddy Fresh employees. We have no recourse. Like, this is not okay what's happening. I don't know how Reddit allows this. I really don't. It's fucking sickening.
Okay, so Ethan claims this post is dedicated to identifying and harassing non-public Teddy Fresh employees. But the problem is this person did have senior designer at Teddy Fresh in their public Instagram bio. Teddy Fresh also routinely posts about their designers, including their names, in their own Instagram posts. And Ela Klein has posted this person on her own YouTube channel, including naming them and introducing them as a designer at Teddy Fresh.
Hi vlog, I'm Sean, I'm resident senior designer.
Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of this ended up concluding. Initially, they were like, how dare you guys say that we stole Israelis have never stolen anything ever. And then they pivoted to, okay, it was a designer we hired and they're the ones who stole it. They did it. They did it. Quick, get them. We didn't know. Like, okay.
Teddy Fresh.
The H3 crew seemed to be under the impression that this post was a dox, by the way, because the document they compiled on it was titled Snark Docs. But based on what I can see, this poster wasn't trying to identify anybody. Motherfucker, you guys are the ones that identified them.
It's not a lie, if you believe it.
And furthermore, Ethan is shocked that Reddit allows this post, calling it targeted harassment. But how exactly is an accusation of wrongdoing by itself harassment? There's no call to action, there's no threat, there's no invasion of privacy. It's literally just a few
Harassment is when you say things that I don't like.
Photos and evidence for their claim. Surely Ethan doesn't consider it to be harassment to accuse somebody of plagiarism, right?
No.
Surely
Ethan Klein of H3H2 Productions accuses James Charles of plagiarizing Teddy Fresh's color block hoodie. So true. No one invented color blocking before H3. I am Israeli and this is my fashion brand.
Ethan doesn't consider it to be harassment to accuse somebody of plagiarism, right? There's this video, apparently by a former H3 Snark moderator, supposedly exposing the harassment the community engages in. And some of the examples they list are like, just listen.
The Snarkers would even post drawings of crew members for the purpose of everyone else in the live chat to make fun of them. But the thing that stuck out to me from the times I was looking at the H3 Snark live chat is that they really, really, really hate Zach. Whenever Zach was
Okay, admittedly, when I was looking at some of this video before stream, I skipped this section. That's so fucked up. But it's so funny, dude.
on screen, the H3 Snark chat would go crazy and comment about how ugly Zach is.
Drawings? People calling Zach ugly? Oh my god.
No, someone do something. No, please. Famously, Ethan has never done that ever. Ever. Do you remember, I don't know how many of you guys have been around for long enough. The problem is that a lot of the H3 fans, like the foot fungi, a lot of them don't really understand why Ethan makes the criticism that criticisms that he does. So they kind of just go along with them because they're like, well, he made the joke and I thought it was funny, so it has to be funny, right? But no one else actually thinks that. I know what you're thinking, like, where are we getting? Where are we getting to? There was a segment that Ethan did that was probably one of the most insane segments because of how absurd it is and how, like, coping you have to be saying the things that he was saying. But he was like, oh, Denims looks like a dummy, like the ventriloquist dolls or whatever. But the problem is, to any normal person, you just kind of look like a crazy person making those comments. Like, if you showed this post to a normal person, this image of me, and you were like, what does this person look like? And let them think on it and be like, okay, don't tell me. Now keep that in your brain. Keep that in your brain. If you then showed that same person this image, they would be like, huh? What? Why not? Question mark? Okay. Sure. It's because you see red hair, but I have like black hair with highlights in this video or in this image. It's like, it's very funny. It is. There's nothing you can do to this except laugh because of how absurd it is. And you gotta love classic fan behavior following me. Also, yep. Look at how just deranged this comment is, by the way. A photo of me wearing pants and a tank top. Keep posting the OF slop. You're gonna need it, R word. You literally look like Sloppy from Goosebumps. It's like... Okay. Anyways. Midriff showing, classic OF slop. The point being, like, Ethan has tried, like, so many times, I feel like, to do this, like, hate campaign against me, amid, like, alongside a bunch of other people, but I don't think he's found anything that's really clicked. But his, like, foot fungi, they just spread everything that he says in hopes that it works. But it's like, you know, people have, like, eyes, right? You know, people have, like, eyes, right, man? Sure, man. Whatever lets you sleep at night, man. Whatever lets you sleep.
God, we need to do something about this. Oh, and by the way, Ethan fully endorses this video.
An ex-snarker made a video about the snark subreddit that I thought was wonderful. This all took place on Reddit's platform. They have a live chat feature that during every show they would open up, or they would engage in targeted, relentless harassment against all of us. I'm very grateful to this person. People don't understand the forces that I'm dealing with, of how fucking disgustingly evil
The evil forces of people posting stuff on Reddit.
these people are.
So look, if you scroll through the H3 Snark page, you'll see posts that are making fun of things Ethan has said, sometimes clipping something from a recent stream. Here's a post just sharing something Hasan said about Ethan. This subreddit is like 99% just posts like this. So I'm not saying there's never been a post here that could qualify as harassment, but if for Ethan things like laughing at drawings does qualify, it makes me seriously question his judgment of the severity of what's happening here. Moving on, another part of Ethan's claim is that this community is defaming him and his business, and Ethan really doesn't like defamation.
This is defamation, right? No, defamation. Defamation. I'm literally going to sue you for defamation.
Uh-oh.
But this part is even harder to evaluate, because Ethan is even less specific about the defamation. He tends to just generally kind of whine about defamation and slander, and rarely, if ever, provides any specific examples of it.
These are like 3 huge fucking communities that are posting about me and Ela every fucking day. Fucking relentless slander, straight up lies, defamation.
One of the only times I could find him providing actual evidence was this infamous Ramadan post, which contained a lie that the H3H3 subreddit was removing posts celebrating Ramadan.
I'm pretty sure that post did get removed, though.
Understandably pretty upset about this, but when you look into what actually happened here, it seems likely that this example of defamation just doesn't really mean much of anything. According to the moderators of the subreddit, the post was originally made by like a rogue mod on an alt account, and once they found out that it was false, they deleted the post, demodded the user, and updated their rules to have higher standards. So one user on a popular forum maliciously spread misinformation, was caught, got punished, and then the owners took steps to try to prevent it from happening again. So this just isn't indicative of any systemic or coordinated misconduct. This is just called the internet. Plus,
it's anti-Semitic when the internet is mean to me, and it's based and awesome when they're nice to me. Did you consider that? Did you fucking consider that for a brief moment?
Seems like this should be how you'd want a place like this to be moderated. They have rules against misinformation, and they do enforce them. Like if you go search through the subreddit, you can find hundreds of examples of the moderators telling the subreddit not to contact sponsors, to respect people's privacy, marking certain posts as being satirical, all things that point to them actually trying to prevent harassment and defamation. Like with any popular forum, some stuff might occasionally slip through the cracks, but this stuff would be outliers. It's quite obviously not the purpose of this community. So Ethan's claims that this place exists solely to conduct an organized harassment campaign against him are at best flimsy, and at worst, kinda bullshit. But there's one more thing Ethan has shown, and it's this screenshot he shared from Discord of supposedly a moderator of H3 Snark sharing the address of the H3 and Teddy Fresh studios. Now, if this is exactly how Ethan describes it, it could be an issue. But this looks like a private DM, not a public Discord server. There's no information about who this was sent to, whether this person is still a moderator, whether they even ever were a moderator, or whether any of the other mods knew about it. So I kinda just don't really know what I'm looking at here. Without more context, this just isn't evidence.
I mean, it's literally the same thing that he did with the lawsuit where he said that, like, they are directly coordinating. These streamers are directly coordinating with Snark. And it's like, I'm sorry, real denim heads, no, I don't respond to DMs. How many times do I have to go over this? I'm too busy losing games, and here's the storm because I'm a fucking masochist, man. I can't.
of organized, coordinated harassment. This could be nothing more than just one person doing something wrong, which again can happen in any large online community. So look, my perception of what's happened here is that Ethan conflates harassment with unwanted negative scrutiny, and he might even conflate slander with things he disagrees with. 99.9% of the users here are just talking, making jokes, criticizing him, voicing their opinions. Some of them may say things that are untrue or even cruel, but dude, that's what the internet is. H3 has millions of subscribers. At a certain point, you can't control what everyone says or thinks about you. So as far as I can tell, Ethan just isn't the victim of anything unique here. But obviously he disagrees, and his response to these insults, to criticism, and to this one lie that was ultimately removed was declaring all-out war on Reddit and H3 Snark.
And it's just fucking disgusting. Like Reddit, you are disgusting. Fucking shame on you. The CEO, the officers, everybody who's in this company is 100% liable for everything that's happening on all these Snark
Denims
subreddits.
never call us denim heads. We're denim legs. You don't wear denim hats unless you're gay or on Disney Channel. The Maoist lesbian says. That's a crazy name. Crazy name. And you did get my ass. Did get my ass.
He started by going to Reddit and complaining about Snark numerous times, demanding that they take action against the subreddit.
And I've tried to notify Reddit, and they just don't fucking care. We reported it, and we were trying to contact someone at Reddit. I've gone through every avenue possible with Reddit. If this doesn't get taken care of, then I'm gonna have to start holding Reddit.
It's like, if he wasn't such a horrible person and didn't actively use his platform to make other people's lives awful, like, genuinely, I'm sorry, what Ethan Klein did to Casey Tron is one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen someone on the internet do to another person. Like, this woman who got, a few hundred viewers watching your video that got millions of views. You were okay with making her and her family homeless because she said mean things about you. Now you're going to pretend it's under the guise of caring about fair use. We all know that that's a load of horseshit, man. You don't mean that. You don't believe that. You don't think that. You wanted to do it because you didn't like that she was saying mean things about you. Unfortunately for you, that's not going to necessarily stop her from saying mean things about you. It just means she's never going to watch your content again. She'll just put up a photo of you and then shit talk you then. Like, it's just weird, insane fucking behavior. I mean, a woman being mean to him is actually worse than genocide. That's true. That's actually correct. A reminder that for disabled people and their families, threatening to financially ruin them is essentially a death threat. That's what he was doing to Casey for being mean to him. Correct. Why was I brought that up for one particular reason, which was to make a greater point. Denim's true lesbian love has occurred in your chat today and you say nothing. No, I'm sorry. I didn't see it. I was looking at this stupid video. Oh man, I blanked on it.
Accountable.
Which led to quite a lot of whining from Ethan when they chose not to do anything.
The whole Snark phenomenon is so pathetic that Reddit allows this shit to continue. This is another reason why I just cannot
Oh, I remember. That's like, dude, you doing that and like trying to financially ruin someone like Casey Tron, like, did that fill the gaping hole in your heart? Did that make you feel better? Did that improve your life in any way, shape, or form? No, it didn't. And no, it did not substantially impact fair use or Twitch reacts because it was never about that, man. It literally was never about that. It's just about your personal vendetta and the fact that you can't control that you just want everybody to love you and they just don't and they won't. I don't know how else to explain that to you, man. And I found the clip, guys. I found it. This part.
That's all I've ever done. I don't know how to do anything else. The Nightmare on Denim Street.
You know, I don't have a problem with it.
Thank you, Zach.
Keep doing yourself, brother.
That's it. That's all I've ever done. I don't know how to do anything else. People go, just try to be yourself. That's lit. How am I supposed to do anything other than that? I'm being myself right now. Myself is anxious and depressed and upset all the time.
No, you're
just
right.
Be yourself. Okay, that's what I'm doing. Right now. You know?
What is happening? I'm trying to
Don't-
follow.
this-
I've lost
Bro is literally lost his mind. He's literally, the marbles are gone, people. Maybe did you consider that the reason that yourself is anxious and depressed is because you spend all of your time reading comments that are negative about you instead of doing anything that makes you happy? I don't know. Just an idea. Just an idea.
The marbles are gone, people.
Just a quick little thought. Contraman. Great timing. The marbles are gone, people. Thank you for the 20 gift subs. Hold up. 1 second. A little snacky. One sec. Okay. Let's continue, shall we?
Believe that Reddit doesn't react. It's so fucked up that Reddit allows this and doesn't do anything.
But Ethan did eventually hear back from Reddit, although he wasn't very pleased with what they had to say.
We got a hold of someone at Reddit and we told them about all the snark stuff. It was a comms person and they got back to us and they said, well, you guys are harassing people also. You're harassing people and they're harassing people, so I don't see the difference between
Top 10 funniest thing that Reddit could ever say to you. We can't do anything about the people that are harassing you because we see no difference between your subreddit and theirs.
in your community.
Reddit literally said, we have the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever, and then they did it.
Their community.
And while it would be really funny if Reddit actually said that to him, I highly doubt that that's what Ethan was told. I imagine he was told something more like, this community is totally fine. They're not doing anything different than your own is. But this is where things started getting a little weird. Ethan didn't just disagree with Reddit's decisions. He started claiming that Reddit was conspiring against him to protect Snark.
I believe that Reddit is colluding with the moderators of this Snark community and actively protecting it.
And to his credit, I'm sure that Ethan really was on the verge of cracking this thing wide open.
Twitch has been ideologically captured, and the people in that company are using their terms of service selectively as a form of activism. And I feel that I'm getting the same treatment now from Reddit. Did you know that these two companies in San Francisco, their headquarters are blocks away from each other? It's just interesting.
It's just interesting that the headquarters are right next to each other. Isn't that interesting? And then, by the way, in a separate episode, he starts bringing up the CEO of Reddit and talking about how he's going to start protesting at his house every single day. Every single day. And that's what it takes.
It's just interesting because it shows there's some culture happening in this tech space. I think that these people are all very similar minded. I think that's what this is telling me.
Right. But somehow, this airtight narrative didn't gain quite as much traction as Ethan would like, so he started being somewhat openly dishonest about it. For instance, when Adam McIntyre's Snark community got taken down.
Denims, are you cool with people making fan channels of you on YouTube? I want to start one for you, but I don't want to take away from your stuff. No, please. Please, by all means. Go for it. I currently don't even post on YouTube. I know that I should, but I just don't.
By Reddit, allegedly due to behaviors similar to the H3 Snark page, Ethan took it as proof that Reddit is conspiring against him. But he prefers to just disregard the known fact that Adam's page didn't get removed due to any alleged behaviors. But
interesting that McDonald's is literally steps away from Burger King. Are they colluding to make my ass fat? The Denims industrial complex is rising. The camera is getting bigger. If anything, I wish that there was something that I could like give to people who upload stuff on YouTube and to like fan channels that exist on YouTube. I wish there was some way that I could like reward people, I guess, who like make such, great clips and stuff. But we're not even hiring an editor. Well, I have editors for TikTok, but I feel like when I upload them to YouTube, I don't know if it's just my channel that's cooked or what. The clips just like get completely brigaded. It can be like totally about anything, but maybe now's a good time to start trying again. I don't know.
rather because it was completely unmoderated, whereas H3 Snark has always had active moderators. Ethan is aware of this, by the way. He just chooses to believe something else.
It's hard for him to be honest. He lies a lot. He does.
In fact, there are often pretty decent explanations for why things on Reddit haven't gone Ethan's way, but rather than opening his eyes, everything only leads him to further believe that Reddit leadership must be snarkers themselves. That's right, it's a big Reddit conspiracy to harass Ethan Klein. That is literally what he believes.
I know that it's likely that one of the admins who's being paid by Reddit is participating and protecting it.
Ethan also started claiming that the coordination and organized harassment actually just happens in Discord servers, which is why you won't find it on the subreddit itself.
These fucking freaks that are in a Discord sharing on all these things. These people can sign up without any info of their account. Most of their activities happening on Discord.
And it's kind of weird that he'd go that route anyway, because somehow Reddit is complicit in something truly horrific here, but simultaneously none of it is actually happening on Reddit, it's all happening somewhere else.
By far, this is like the funniest thing that I think Ethan Klein has ever done. Become convinced that the Reddit CEO and the people at Reddit are also Ethan Klein snarkers. And they're all in on this big joke to make fun of and insult Ethan Klein.
But despite not having very much evidence, Ethan remained incredibly determined to push this harassment narrative. So determined, in fact, that he made the very classy decision to appropriate a woman's suicide to further his agenda against Snark. Michaela Raines, also known as Save-A-Fox, took her own life back in June of last year, and Ethan, within 24 hours of it being announced, ran to Instagram to claim that Snark was responsible. But Michaela's husband didn't cite her Snark community as contributing to her suicide. He rather said that the criticism Michaela faced was often from people she knew or people from other animal sanctuaries. Michaela's Snark page was pretty inactive, with only 19 total posts in its lifetime. She also, according to her husband, had a long history of being in and out of therapy with depression and various other mental ailments. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible that Michaela's Snark page contributed to her distress, but this was obviously a deeply troubled person, and Ethan parading around her body for his own narrative purposes and chalking it all up to Snark, when he can't even know that to be true, is kind of a...
I mean, it feels a lot like anyone that talks about Wreckful. It's like, maybe we shouldn't speculate and explain all the reasons and blame it on the things that we want that are useful for us in that exact moment. And maybe suicide should be treated with, like, I don't know, like a little bit more caution. Again, obviously harassment is never going to help anyone, but to use somebody else's suicide to be like, see, this is why we need what we need right now. Oh, I completely forgot about that one as well. Yeah, forgot about that story. Etika, which Ethan also weaponized for his personal gain. It's just like, dude, come on.
Disgusting thing to do. But despite these lies and conspiracy theories and his appeals to Reddit, Ethan was unsuccessful in getting H3 Snark removed.
This is not normal. This is fucking insane, unhinged behavior that is being explicitly sanctioned by Reddit continually. It's nauseating. It's so fucked up.
So he decided to escalate his tactics. Ethan hired an attorney to begin issuing copyright strikes against clips of the H3 podcast that were getting posted on their Snark page. It's unknown exactly how many strikes were issued, but they went after quite a few, including some clips as short as 20 seconds long. Ethan has given various explanations for why he was trying to get these posts removed.
Me and my lawyer were extremely conservative about which posts qualified. The ones that I post, that I DMCA'd on that, were egregious.
At different times, he's claimed he was only targeting members-only content or posts that openly stated they were trying to steal views. But neither of these turned out to be true. Clips that didn't fit either of those parameters were getting struck also. Eventually, some of these snarkers were added to Ethan's current lawsuits against Hasan's orbiters, which we'll come back to later. But in these filings, we received expanded explanations for some of the DMCA takedown requests. And all of a sudden, the justifications included things such as posts that didn't have enough comments on them. Not a great reason. These filings also claim that H3 was very purposeful with what they chose to strike, listing just 7 examples with detailed explanations for each takedown. And in response to the idea that he was trying to silence his critics, Ethan would repeat this claim on stream, asserting that he had only struck a handful of clips from the subreddit.
And your dumb bitch ass at the time was saying I was silencing people, which makes no fucking sense because there's like 1,000 posts up there and we DM'd.
It looks so insane. I don't know what he was doing in his life at this time, but this was like peak, like, insanity. Like, he just, you know, the zooted emote? This was like the vibe that he gave every episode for a little bit. It was very funny. It was great. And then he kind of like tapered out and he just started being like, I don't know what he was doing with his life. Maybe he was really big on cardio. Maybe he got into yoga. Maybe he was on that methylene blue. I don't know. I don't know what he was on. Honestly, I genuinely I don't know what he was on or what he was doing or how he was living his life. Maybe he woke up with like sunning his butthole every morning like people do. I don't know. Whatever he was doing, this shit was great. He looked so insane in every single episode. It was amazing. Where he's like, "This is what I'm talking about." And he was just giving insane person every day. It was amazing.
And your dumb bitch ass at the time was saying I was silencing people, which makes no fucking sense because there's like 1,000 posts up there and we DMCA'd like 5 of them.
But what they're referring to is just a DMCA. One of their posts of like the hundreds, if not thousands, got DMCA'd. And so the story is that I'm trying to silence free speech because one post of 1,000 got DMCA'd.
Like I said, there's hundreds of posts. We removed maybe 5 at most.
But months earlier, when complaining about Reddit's inaction against Snark, Ethan had previously claimed to have successfully filed dozens of copyright strikes against them.
We've performed dozens of copyright strikes on the Snark subreddit. We have removed dozens of posts.
So is Ethan possibly lying to downplay how many claims were being filed? If he is, it might be because what Ethan was actually trying to do was get the subreddit banned as a result of excessive DMCA notices, something that he had seen work with other Snark subreddits before.
She told me that she was aware that there's Snark pages that will talk about me and that talk about her, whatever. And she was like, I'm gonna give you this number of someone who can take down your Snarks. These people will go around and they will copyright strike things on subreddits to get them all these violations that then they get removed. I'm pretty sure as well that's how, you know, Trisha Paytas got the Trishyland Reddit taken down.
But obviously,
Paytas is crazy.
That plan didn't work, so he started making public threats of legal action against members of H3 Snark. And I wanted to briefly point out the very funny way that he talks.
Is he like Adam McIntyre? I mean, I think I've watched like 1 or 2 videos. Seems cool.
When he's addressing Snark, he really thinks he's that guy.
I will look for you. I will find you. And I will
sue you.
He's already...
Oh God. I think this is the best part. It's like he really thinks he's him and he has no idea how other people are perceiving him. And it's so pathetic.
Already been granted a subpoena to obtain the personal information of prominent H3 Snark members, which he claims is just for legitimate copyright purposes.
And he's threatening to dox them. It's not a dox, you dumb fuck. It's called a subpoena. Now, what happens to that information? I don't know. I literally just want to hold them accountable for copyright infringement. Court filings are all public. So if like their private information shows up there, I literally can't help it.
But if you're not trying to dox them, then why say things like this? I mean, he should...
And it's this Instagram story that says, "It won't save you scumbags from what's coming. I can't wait for your family and friends and work and school to know what you've been up to." You gotta love like how insane and like delusional and deranged this fucking Instagram story comes out. Your friends and family are gonna know that you were posting about disliking the H3 show. Okay. Okay, bro, who do you think you are, Sephiroth? Like, hello?
Just openly expressing here that his goal is, at least partially, to expose the identities of these snarkers.
Like anyone that...
I mean, the reality is it was all a massive... The entire thing against, like, Reddit is just that he can't handle criticism. And when there's a subreddit of people that criticize you, you just have to, like, grow the fuck up and not be a fucking baby. I mean, look at not leftovers. Look at live stream fails. Live stream fails is literally a dedicated subreddit for hating every single streamer other than like Destiny and maybe sometimes Asmongold. Okay, and you just can't care what those losers have to say. You just don't give a shit. You just don't have, and that's the cool thing. You actually at no point have to give a shit. You don't have to care, but he can't handle that. He can't handle that people don't like him. So his solution is, well, if I just dox everyone, if I force them to be doxed, not because I'm trying to dox them, of course, ha ha ha. No. It's because I'm trying to subpoena them. Then no one will have the audacity to confront me or criticize me because they'll all be afraid of being doxed. Like,
participated in that sub should be humiliated, embarrassed, and exposed. If I was one of these people and had something to lose, who had, let's say, a good job or was part of an elite university, something like that, they would certainly not want people to know what they've been up to. They all have quite a lot to lose, and I will be.
I love the idea of like Yale being like, ooh, we were going to admit you, and then we found out that you're moderating for a subreddit that doesn't like Ethan Klein. So yeah, we're going to have to rescind your acceptance letter. Like what is happening in the machinations of his mind? Genuinely. Like, I know, like, ooh, you have a 1600 SAT score, but you don't like H3? That's not going to work for us. That's not yeah, man. Uh-huh. You really got him. And unfortunately, like, the reality of being a public figure on the internet is this. But how do I get them to stop talking about me? That's the neat part. You don't. That's kind of just like what happens on the internet. There are always going to be people that hate you. It doesn't matter if you're the least controversial person on the planet. There are people that will hate you. There are people that hate BB No Money. Like, what has he done? Like, he literally hasn't done anything. Like, I don't even understand why people dislike him. I'm not saying you gotta like him, but like, there are people who dislike him. There are people I've seen that will be like, I can't wait for allegations to come out about this guy. It's like, what the hell? His worst crime is being a little cringy. Okay. Are we serious right now? Like, are we serious? Cringe? The cringe. Someone being a little too cringe is enough for you to have this, like, palpable hatred? That's very weird, man. That's very weird. There are people who hate Miss Rachel. Very weird, man. Very weird. If cringe was a crime, Denims would get a life sentence. Oh, I would not see the outside of a prison cell if cringe was a crime, bro. Cringe was a crime. Bro, this chatter has totally lost the plot. If you want them to stop talking about you, stop being an insufferable person. No, but that's the neat thing. So I understand words are really hard, but I'm going to walk you through it. Hold my hand. It doesn't matter who you are. There will always be people on the internet that hate you. You can be the nicest, sweetest person on the planet, and there are people that hate you. I brought up BB No Money. He hasn't done anything wrong that I've seen, and people hate him. Miss Rachel just makes videos talking about how she doesn't want kids to fucking die and suffer, and people hate her. There are people that hate Markiplier. And when I say hate, I don't mean like I feel neutrally, I dislike or anything. I mean like hate enough to be posting consistently about them. It doesn't matter who you are. There are always going to be people that hate you.
Streaming.
Especially on the internet. I don't care that people talk about me on the internet. I really don't. Because all I have to do is remember that people talk about how anti-Semitic Miss Rachel is, and then I'm like, oh yeah, right. Idiots exist. Okay, got it. I only have to respect the opinion of people who I actually respect and think are valuable sources of information. So, for example, if Mehdi Hasan made a video titled Denims is the most evil person ever, I'd be like, oh, he knows about me? No, I'd be like, oh, wow, I really want to know what he thinks and like why he said that. Like, that's, ow, that hurts. Because I'm a big Mehdi fan. But like some random fucking loser that spends all of their time posting in live stream fails, why would I give a shit? Why would I spend more than 1 second thinking about something like that? It's a total waste of your time. And you have to like accept that as a content creator, as a public figure on the internet, that there are people that are just going to hate you. And some of them don't have a good reason at all. Like some of them literally don't have a good reason. And that's okay. And you just tell yourself you're not allowed to care about that. And then you just don't care about it. There are only two people I dislike enough to hate online, and that's Tectone and Asmongold. I mean, even those people, it's like, I don't go to their chats and type about how much I hate them. I have, like, better things to do with my time. I would, like, spending my time, like, I could be playing video games, I could be going outside and getting dinner, I could be going bowling with friends, and instead I'm, like, typing in a chat of the streamer that I hate and being like, you fucking suck, you're the worst, like, Girl, there's being pathetic and then there's being pathetic. Like, that is a level of pathetic that, like, you can't let yourself stoop to. Like, that's really sad. Like, it's actually, like, sad. And you just gotta accept it. You just gotta accept it on the internet. Some people are wacky. They're just wacky people. And they're missing things in their life. And that's why they're lashing out on the internet. Because normal people, when they don't like someone, they just think, I don't like this guy. And then they move on with their life. That's like 90% of the people I don't like. That's how I respond to them. It's like, oh, I don't like this guy. Okay. Like, I'm not making constant posts about Mr. Beast. I don't go to every Mr. Beast video and say, like, I fucking hate you, Mr. Beast. I don't go to, like, whatever the snark subreddit is for Mr. Beast and talk about how much I hate him. I don't, like, clip and show how evil. I'm just like, I don't really like Mr. Beast. I don't know. He's just kind of weird to me. Anyways. And that's it. Like, that's literally anything beyond that is, like, literally, and I'm not joking, Jack, it's a waste of your time. You could do anything else. Literally anything else. You could watch a movie. You could play a game of chess. You could draw something. You could read a book. You could hang out with friends. You could cook something fun. You could go for a walk. You could do literally anything else. Anything. And there are some sad, pathetic losers that spend literally all of their time sitting there and posting about how much they hate someone. Like, is that not, like, I feel more pity for those people than anything else, because you have nothing going on in your life if that's how you spend your days every single day. That is sad, man. Start keeping fish. That shit will take over your life. Trust. Or even, like, having a pet. Like, having a pet is one of the easiest ways to guarantee that you've become a little bit more normal. Because I don't know about you guys. I love, but you don't understand. This is called justice. Everyone needs to feel the way I do about this person. It's like, who cares? Is diversity of thought not more interesting than trying to convince everyone, like, actually, this person's really evil because they did this and this and this. Also, I made half of it up. It's like, what? You're weird, man. You're fucking weird.
The one that makes them lose.
Why do these people always go to this point? You know, for someone who says they don't care, you seem kind of mad, like you care. Have you just never seen what a woman looks like when she's laughing and having a good time? Have you never invoked that emotion in a woman? Is this a confusing experience for you? Do women usually say, ew, get the fuck away from me? So now you're, like, kind of confused? Because if so, that's okay. You can just tell me. You can be honest with me. I'm here to explain to you, this is what women look like when they're having fun. They're having a good time. This is what you want to see when you're speaking to a woman. Okay? Just to give you an idea of what that joy looks like, all right? All right.
Those things.
That is pretty explicit. I mean, just look at one of the letters from Ethan's attorney. Give us the identity of snark moderators, or all of your personal info will be made public. And this letter was regarding a clip posted on H3 Snark that was 90 seconds long. It seems obvious that his primary motivation is not really protecting his property. But you know how we can be sure? Ethan previously, not even that long ago, had opened up the H3 IP to everybody, and he even gave his blessing to people profiting off of his channel.
I am opening our IP to the world. If you want to cut up clips from the podcast, from our members live, from anything with me in it, go for it, man. Monetize it. I will not claim. I will not remove. I will not do anything. I mean, to be fair, it's basically been my policy. I don't claim or remove anything really at all.
But now you're making it explicit.
Yeah.
He was openly encouraging people to monetize his property.
By the way, he never lies. He's allergic to lying.
Even on YouTube.
We opened our IP, and there are starting to be channels who are uploading content.
I started noticing.
And they're getting views, and I'm very happy.
But Redditors who don't profit off of him at all,
I have to read something very important to all of you. I have to clear up a common misconception. I remember this. Hasan inspired him to do it too. LOL. Hasan groomed him into thinking it was okay to open his IP. Okay, so I want you to just like correct that statement really quickly. Okay. All right. He was groomed as a 40-year-old man by Hasan Piker into thinking that it was a good idea to open his IP, and he didn't realize that he was being groomed. Okay. So please, if you would retract your defecation statement.
Has a massive problem with his content being shared there, and the only difference between these two situations, one supports H3, the other criticizes him. You can't blanket open up your IP and then claim infringement when you just don't like who's sharing it. Either it's protected or it's not. So when it comes to H3 snark, Ethan seems to have abused DMCA as a guise to try to silence his critics. That's it. This whole snark controversy is really interesting because when you zoom out, it kind of gives you a lot of perspective on Ethan's character, like how he stands staunchly against involving people's families in online drama.
The way that's super fucked and twisted about it is how they go after people's families.
Except when he does it, or how he hates defamation and considers it harassment.
One of them fabricated a post. That's defamation.
Except when he does it, or how he thinks snark is
It's
evil.
kind of giving when I posted that like meme screenshot. The meme screenshot between like Asmongold and Emaru. And by the way, that was a very funny joke. I wish people would make jokes like that about me, but nobody makes funny jokes about me. They're just like, oh, the lawsuit whore. It's like boring, boo. Listen, if you're going to make fun of me, can you be a little bit more entertaining? Christ. How are you getting owned by like fucking Pat from 6th grade, man? How are you are a worse bully than Patricia from 6th grade. Like you're getting owned by a teenage girl. Congratulations, you fucking dunce. On that note, wait, there was something I was going to say. No.
Fabricated a
right
post.
There.
That's defamation.
Except when he does it. Or how he thinks snark.
Oh, yeah, the Emaru post where there were a bunch of people responding to my post. This made I did not expect this to happen. And it literally made my day. Made my day. I couldn't believe that anyone was doing it. But this one was during the ICE thing. Like breaking messages between Emaru and Asmongold have been leaked. What's going on with ICE executing American citizens? Don't worry, kitten. Okay, yay! And the number of people, by the way, in these replies that were like, where is it? Dude, these edits don't work. These edits don't work. They're not accurate at all. Honestly, I should not be Gulpa. I should not be raw dogging before there's like fucking porn in these replies. Sorry, somebody. Where is it? Maybe some of them are deleted them, but also it's probably showing relevance for me, which is probably a bunch of people that are like pro. Here it is. There were a concerning number of replies like this. This top message looks fake and added in. So most likely fake and misleading. Also, there's no names on this. So that further proves it's fake just to conjure negativity and hate for Emaru and Asmongold. It's like, you just blowing from stupid town. By the way, guys, if you ever see these posts, please respond to them with, no, it's real. Please respond with, no, it's real. No, this is actually real. I was there when she screenshotted it. Anyways, that just reminded me of that.
Is evil and should be wiped.
Sex Pestiny said your Ethan Klein coverage is unhinged, so you must be doing all right. Yeah, I'm having fun, so that's a classic sign of a woman that's being unhinged.
From the internet.
I'm against snark subreddits. I stand opposed to all snark subreddits.
Wow.
Except when he uses it. Yeah, this is Ethan's web browser back during his fallout with Trisha Paytas, and you'll notice Ethan is a frequent visitor of Trishyland, Trisha's Snark subreddit. Ethan and the H3 crew are known to have been supporters and regular visitors of various Trisha Snark pages, including multiple named after their former podcast, Frenemies. The H3 podcast was actually remarkably public about being appreciative of Snark back when the target was somebody that they didn't like.
Frenemies too. Oh, you have to request to join? Well, I got to request access now.
Love said he secured Frenemies 12, so we're safe.
Okay.
We got, wait, Frenemies 12 is us?
Isn't it crazy that when they want to make Snark subreddits, it's okay and it's based, but when anyone else criticizes them ever, how are they doing this? How are they allowed to do this? Reddit, please.
Yeah, we got it.
Go to Frenemies 12, people, since Frenemies 2 is closed.
Frenemies 2 is like home base. You know what I mean?
Why have they done this?
The irony is that Ethan and Hila don't actually have a problem with Snark. In fact, when his own fans engage in the same behaviors that he accuses Snark of, he'll just pretend that it isn't happening.
It's a numbers game, okay? Some people, obviously, from an audience are going to be take it too far and be inappropriate and say horrible things. This is not my fan base. So them even trying to make it about our fan base is disingenuous.
You literally pulled up that guy's mom and said, you know what? I am going to go there. She should know. Because a guy said that your wife should go to hell. So you decided to harass his mom. And then his mom had bomb schools called to the school that she works at. Okay. You can't so I agree that there is some level of I agree that there is some truth to you can't control your audience completely entirely. There is always going to be some people that do things that you're not for, and the only thing that you can really do is pull it up and say like, don't engage in this behavior, don't tap the glass, don't engage in this, we don't condone this behavior. And that's all you can do. I think you can try, and that's like, no one should really be expected to do more than just try, right? But you are literally leading by example. They're doing what you're doing. You're pulling up people's pages because they're being mean to you, and you're harassing them and their family members. What do you think your fans are going to do? Hello?
And it's a fucking lie.
This is slightly old data, but one of the most popular subreddits among people who also post in H3 subreddit is a makeup Snark page. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because the thing is, Ethan is a controversial figure with millions of followers. He's been involved in countless dramas and public feuds with others, and at that scale, criticism is inevitable. Some of it is going to be harsh. Some people might cross lines, but
his audience is like, give him a break. He has tourists. Stop.
That doesn't mean there's a massive organized campaign against you. It just means you're notable and there's a lot of eyeballs on you. And I don't know how to protect someone like Ethan from every isolated incident of harassment on the internet, but I know that the answer is not silencing all of your critics. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Kilo, didn't these people send CPS and skulls to his house? I don't blame Ethan for taking matters into his own hands. Well, let's see. In November of 2024, Ethan began threatening Reddit with legal action if he couldn't get H3 Snark banned from the website. In December, it was discovered that he had been weaponizing DMCA against them. In January, he finalized his plan to ultimately sue them for copyright infringement. Then in February, he began making vague threats of doxing and exposing the identities of the Snark moderators.
Also, some of the people in the subreddit were getting emails from his lawyer, from Rom, and the emails were like, if this continues, your entire family will know the type of behavior you're up to. This is going to be, you will lose this case and it's going to be on your permanent record. Straight up threatening some of these people. If somebody has the email, it was crazy.
And the CPS and Skulls incidents didn't happen until March. On March 7th of 2025, the H3 podcast went live, where Ethan and Hila would discuss a Child Protective Services visit to their house that morning after an anonymous call that was placed a few days prior. The call was in response to a story Ethan told on this episode.
Then as I finally overcame my ADHD, remember to follow you on Twitter, and now my For You page is full of hotties. You're welcome, Dad.
A few weeks earlier about his family having possibly contracted Giardia. After announcing what happened, Ethan followed up with a video on his main channel on March 10th, further discussing the CPS call, as well as angrily berating H3 Snark, Hasan, Bad Empanada, really anybody he could even remotely blame for the incident. He especially took issue with Denims, who he accused of encouraging her community to call CPS.
Look.
Incident. He especially took
Look, it's me. Look, it's me and Mayor Worm. He was worming, as you can see.
Issue with Denims, who he accused of encouraging her community to
This is factually untrue. I'm 37, not 29. I'm 37. Please.
call CPS.
Please amend
The
this
visit itself
immediately.
rightfully didn't translate to any long-term consequences for the Klein household, although Ethan maintains that this was a malicious and fraudulent attack on his family and that the call had no merit. He also claims that the caller impersonated somebody close to the Klein family to bolster the call's credibility.
Like when he first showed up, he's like, it's somebody that you know who made the report. And I'm like, no, okay. You could easily impersonate.
The CPS incident escalated Ethan's sense of victimhood in a pretty massive way, and he started lashing out at anyone he considered anywhere even close to
Your name is Private? Weird name, but okay. Yeah, you'll be calling me Private Jeans, please. Thank you.
responsible. One such person was Ian Joma, also known as iDubbbz. Ian is a former well-respected comedy creator turned not so well-respected failed event coordinator. He and Ethan used to occasionally collaborate on each other's channels and always appeared to maintain a positive relationship. But Ian and his wife Anissa over time also developed friendships with Hasan, Denims, and other similar creators. Because of these conflicting friendships, Ian largely avoided commenting on any of the Ethan and Hasan drama.
Well, you have to understand also, the one thing that this video doesn't break into, it doesn't really get into it that much, but Ethan didn't ever really have like a transformation as a content creator. He's just kind of been doing the same shtick over and over again for his entire online career. And he fundamentally doesn't understand why people liked when he did it before and they don't like that he's doing it now. And part of it is that like people's tastes change a little bit and people expect a little bit more, I think, out of content creators today than they did in the inception of YouTube. But also a little bit of it has been that like, it's about who you're attacking. And some people just like, some people that Ethan attacks just like don't deserve to be attacked at the level that they're being attacked. And it's why Jay Aubrey's videos are still good. Yeah, he's attacking these people and like making fun of them, but these are terrible people. Like, I don't really care that Jay Aubrey's making a video on Pam Bondi. If anything, more people should be making videos on Pam Bondi. The problem with Ethan is that he just like targets anyone and everyone who talks about him negatively at all, regardless of how actually harmful they are. It's just they're causing me harm by existing and being mean to me. I can't believe you're attempting to watch this 4-hour video on the fuck Hasan industry. Okay, I don't know how much of it we can get through because I'm fucking pausums, but I'm trying. It's only taken us like 3 hours to get through like an hour, but we're good.
Drama to this point, obviously preferring to stay out of it.
Oh, and then the other thing too is that like, sorry, I was making a greater point. I forgot. I think Ethan genuinely, like to this day, he doesn't understand why people liked him before and they don't like him now. And it's because before people laughed at him, but a little bit with him because he would laugh at himself for being like the bumbling idiot. And now he's gotten such like a massive ego. He really thinks he's like the smartest dude in the room. Old Ethan would not be talking about Israel-Palestine. Old Ethan would be like, listen, guys, this is just a channel for goofs and gaffs. I don't know. I just want to make videos on like Vape Nation or whatever. And current Ethan, his ego is so like insane. Like it is so massively insane and insanely large that like he really thinks he's like him. He thinks that like he is capable of talking about these issues that he's clearly not capable of talking about. And that was all to feed into a different point, which was that Ethan didn't actually ever transform and like mature. He's kind of just been the same person, but with like a bigger and bigger and bigger ego. And this kind of culminated, honestly, in the Hasan nuke, because I remember when I was watching it, or like when I was like waiting for it, because there was like this massive lead up. I'm gonna make this crazy documentary. Everyone kind of was like, there's no way he's gonna upload a video that's just the same shit that he's been posting on his Instagram stories for literally months, right? And then it was that. It's like, oh my God, that is actually pathetic. I thought you like did some research and then you apparently just like didn't. You just, all right. Delusions of grandeur. Whereas with Ian and Anissa, they like took a step back and realized, oh man, a lot of our old content was like really harmful. And a lot of our old content kind of created an audience that we don't really condone. And we want those people to know that we are not okay with them being our fans. Ian iDubbbz has like not a video. He did an interview with Anthony Padilla where he talks about how they had this like wake up moment where they went to a Walmart or something. I don't remember where it was. And this fan walked up to Ian and he was like, "Oh, hey, like, nice to meet you," or whatever. And the fan said, "Okay, I know you're trans, like, you don't like trans people, but I'm trans. Could I get a photo?" And Ian was like, it like crushed him to hear that. He was like, "Why would you like think that? Oh my God." Wait, I don't hate trans. Why do you think that? Like, oh my, what did I do to make someone so fundamentally misunderstand who I am as a person? I thought you might be right. I think it was actually at a meetup. I think it was at a fan meetup. You're correct. That sounds more accurate. He saw a mirror of what his persona was and what his fans saw, and it was pretty gross. Well, yeah, and that's how he describes it. He had a Sneeko moment, exactly, where he was like, it wasn't that I was disgusted by my fans. It was that I realized that those fans were holding a mirror up to me and I didn't like what I saw. And I wanted to change and I wanted to, evolve as a creator online and do more because I can do so much more. And he actually like reflected on it and he actually tried to like fix some of the like harm and try and undo some of the harm. This is Ethan Klein has never had this transformation. Ethan Klein, for the past decade, all he's done is double and triple and quadruple down. That's all he's done. So that is the one thing I will say. So it's no surprise that like Ethan is just like, why aren't they siding with me? It's like, well, hello, because they actually had some self-reflection and have brains. Hello? I'm sorry that you're not capable of reflecting on why people don't like the current stuff you're doing now, but they liked it before.
Just do his pretty boring podcast with his wife. But after the CPS visit, Ian and Anissa staying out of things was no longer an option for Ethan. He accused them of being cowards for not speaking up to defend him from the attacks that were coming from people they're associated with. The couple reiterated on their podcast on March 11th that they wanted to stay out of the conflict, adding that they don't condone or endorse any type of harassment that Ethan received.
We don't condone harassment of
We
any
don't
kind.
condone harassment of any kind.
Of any kind.
But Ethan's attacks on them continued, which led to iDubbbz releasing a pair of his famed content cap videos in April, with Ethan as the subject. These videos didn't get received very well, but I actually think there's a few good
I completely disagree. The video got like 7 million views. It was really good. It was just that the comments were hate brigaded.
points in here, which we'll come back to in a second. For now, the important thing to remember is that the CPS call has become sort of the cornerstone of the victim narrative that Ethan is selling. Anyone who criticizes Ethan's behavior, who questions his motivations, who requests more evidence for his claims, all he or any H3 fans have to say to them is, they tried to take his kids away, and the conversation gets shut down. But the problem with the way that people have framed this whole CPS thing is that it's essentially given Ethan this free pass to just say or do whatever he wants in response, no matter how dishonest it is. Let's get a sense of how CPS got called on the Klein household. Here's the clip that got shared around.
Olive has Giardia, which is it's a bacterial infection in the intestines that makes you have diarrhea. Olive has this. Yeah, she came to us with it.
Okay.
She had diarrhea, so she has Giardia, so we have her on an antibiotic, but we had to wait until Monday, which is today. We just got it today. Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. He's at that age. He has Giardia.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
And now Ela has Giardia.
shut. For real?
And now I think this morning I had diarrhea.
Oh my god.
What can I do to not get it from
Yeah,
you?
I'm trying to...
Because I'm not trying to get
Can
it.
we crank the AC maybe?
Is it?
It's extremely ridiculous to get. You have to ingest my poop.
Okay, so Ethan...
I've seen this clip so many times, guys. I hate that I had to edit the video breaking down how I didn't call CPS or whatever. And I when I was editing, I had to see this stupid clip so many times.
says in this clip that his dog has Giardia, that his infant son has Giardia, and that his wife has Giardia. He then immediately says that it's difficult to contract, and in order to get sick, you would have to ingest his shit. So, I mean, the idea that Ethan could have painted a picture for somebody here of a baby crawling around, putting dog shit in its mouth, it's really not like the craziest thing in the world. Like, it does kind of sound like that.
Olive has...
May I also say something really quickly? I took my cat to... Okay, she was really constipated. Sorry, that's not the beginning of the story. The beginning of the story is my cats are really sweet and they kind of never engage in bad behavior ever. And my cat was sitting on me. Wormy was sitting on me. You guys know how she sits. She likes to put her two little arms on top of my arm. And then she did the most bizarre thing that she's never done this before, where she like bit me really hard. She like broke skin, and then she like made a noise, and then she threw up. And I was like, that's really weird. Like my cats don't do that. They don't. They've never done that ever. And I was like worried about her, so I was like, and if your pet is engaging in abnormal behavior, and then they throw up, it's like, oh, I got to take her to the vet. So I take her to the vet, and I was like, like, what's wrong with her? Like, I don't know. They're like, okay, well, we'll do some blood work, and we'll get an X-ray and stuff. And he was like, okay, the good news, your cat is totally fine in terms of blood work. The bad news is, she is, as you can see from this X-ray, full of poop. And he's like, the good news is, this isn't the most insane thing that happens to cats, because cats usually have a difficult time with drinking water. I would suggest like using a bunch of different ways to make sure that she's getting the water. She just is really constipated. He's just really, and he was like, and you came in a good time, because sometimes it gets like super impacted, and they require a lot more effort to poop your cat. And he was like, this is still like well within acceptable, like she'll be fine. And he was like, we just have to keep her overnight, and then give her an IV and hydrate her, and then like worst case scenario, like I don't know, but hopefully it doesn't come to that, and hopefully it's fine. And I was like, oh, my cat is full of poop. You have to knock them out and manually remove it. Well, that's, I think, what he said happens if it's really bad. Anyway, so like I did this, and then she was fine. Right? She was fine. He pooped my cat, I guess. Insurance covered like half of it, which was great. And then I brought her home, and I don't mean to talk about this in detail, but I realized stool was a bit liquidy. And I was like, you are not getting on all of my fucking furniture and all of my stuff. That's fucking disgusting. And so I did quarantine her in the bathroom for like a day. I gave her food, I gave her snacks, and I went and I played with her, because I didn't want her to be alone in there. But like, girl, you are not walking around. I don't care that I only got 1,200 square feet. You're staying in that bathroom, man. You are not leaking on my stuff. Bro, that's disgusting. That's actually, and it only was like a day. And she was like, fine. But you're not shitting all over my apartment. What the hell? And that's me with like a relatively, with a normal sized apartment. This guy has a McMansion, and he didn't think to quarantine his dog. Huh? You have a housekeeper and a nanny and 1,000,000 rooms, and you didn't think to quarantine your dog? I found a way to make it happen. What? Is that like, and I really don't think that that's a tall ask to quarantine an animal. And my cat didn't even have anything that she could transfer to anyone else. She wasn't sick with anything. She was sick with being a dehydrated bitch, which I am very guilty of myself. So it's not even like she could have gotten anyone sick. It's not like she could have gotten me sick. It's not like she could have gotten my other cat sick. I just didn't want her to do that because I don't want poop everywhere. So I just don't, like, I don't get it. You know what I mean? It's so bizarro. Oh, look, the little chatter gave up. Oh, the chat is full of yes men goons. I feel like you're not like recognizing all of the lesbians in chat, and it's kind of disrespectful and it's kind of rude. Not gonna lie. That's enough brain rot for today. Have a good day, angry lady. Do you know what anger looks like? I'm worried that you don't know what anger looks like. Hope you can find happiness and peace in your life.
Denims is streaming.
Oh, I'm so mad. Yes. You got me. I'm so mad and so triggered. You can tell that I'm, cause I'm like red in the face and I'm yelling and screaming, profanities, and Whatever you say, man. All right.
Giardia. She had diarrhea. Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. It's extremely ridiculous to get. You have to ingest my poop. His whole room was just wafting and the foulest diarrhea smell.
Dude.
And meanwhile, he is covered in low viscosity diarrhea.
Dude.
No, you guys will not be getting Giardia. It's not like that.
So yeah, Ethan told this story about parasites and dogs and babies being covered in shit.
Hi, Kilo. As a completely unbiased and objective first-time viewer, I'm enjoying this stream. When I say hi, Kilo. Dude, I hate you for making me see this. But at least you didn't include the part where he's like, again, I've seen this video so many times because I had to edit my stupid fucking video when I made the video on it. But you didn't include the part where he's like, so I'm like changing his diaper and he's thrashing, and like the baby is thrashing around in the dark and he's getting poop everywhere. And it's like, why are you changing the diaper in the dark? What the fuck is happening? Like, what's going on? Okay, all right, sorry.
And his whole house smelling like flowing, frothy diarrhea. And yeah, it's just disgusting. So if you heard that story and took it at face value, you could understandably have come away from it with a little bit of concern. So obviously somebody called CPS expressing concern about the sanitary conditions of the Klein household. Now, before we go any further, the obvious question is, was the CPS call malicious harassment or genuine concern? And the answer to that question is, we don't know. I don't know, you don't know, and Ethan doesn't know. It could have been malicious, or it could have been someone being reckless or overzealous. But it also could have been someone who heard the story and genuinely believed the kids were in an unsanitary or unhealthy environment. And the thing is that ultimately, it doesn't actually matter whether the report was made in good or bad faith. Even if the Kleins are the victims of harassment here, they're still responsible for how they respond to it. And Ethan, despite having no idea who placed the call or what their intentions were, has accepted no responsibility for himself, lied about what happened, and dishonestly exploited the entire situation. One of the better points from Ian's Content Cop videos is that Ethan tends to abdicate any responsibility he has in protecting himself online, and he instead expects the world to protect.
Oh, probably thank you for the 5 gift subs. Everyone, if you get gifted a sub, you have to legally say thank you, or I shave Wormy.
Him.
Now, what Ethan
And then she'll be bald.
does, instead of taking any responsibility for sharing too much on his live stream, is that he decides to attack specific creators like Denims and say she was the source of the CPS call. Part of my criticisms of Ethan initially was the openness. I think it's a problem that you were that open, Ethan.
And I also think, like, for any aspiring content creators, it's once you, with the internet, like once you put something out there, you can't take it away. And so I do think in general, you should be very cautious about everything that you share.
Denims is streaming.
And there's, I think, a very strong temptation for a lot of people that like, okay, well, I just need to share one more thing. I just need to share one more thing and then people will finally understand that like I'm based or whatever. But like, again, people are going to hate you for any reason, right? So, I personally, I've told you guys already, there are a lot of things that I just don't want to share about myself or like in my personal life that I just have no interest in doing that because it doesn't really improve your life. Like I don't really care if I have to read 100 comments calling me a single cat lady that will die alone or whatever, who is on 500 antidepressants or whatever, or if I read something that says that like Denims is probably abusing her spouse emotionally and is giving them trauma and needs to get medicated. Like, I don't. Okay. Like, okay. That's not going to make me want to share more because you're just going to move it to something else, right? If I was to share being on medication or not being on medication, all that matters is that the opposite will happen, right? You'll just get made fun of regardless of what's happening. So like, for example, like Ian and Anissa, probably one of the happiest couples I have ever met in my life. And there's constantly posts being like, they're going to get divorced any second now. They're going to get divorced. She literally hates him. He literally hates her. It's like, what the fuck? And then if you say like, oh, I'm single, it's like, she's literally lying that she's single. She's lying. Or like Hasan, it's like, he's lying about being single because he's trying to get people to be horny for him. It's like, or I don't know, maybe you just like don't want people to speculate on your life and you don't want to encourage any parasocial behavior. So it's better to just not share that stuff. I don't know. Just as like an idea, just as a concept. It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Yeah, well, yeah, because again, those people just want to hate you because they want to hate you. All of his former fans blame Anissa for changing him and that he's cucked by her now. It's like, these people need help. Like, they just need help. And I'm sorry, like, I don't think it's so extreme to say that if you're a public figure, you're still allowed some privacy. Like, I feel like we already went over this with the whole like Britney Spears thing and like paparazzi. It's like, I don't know, man, just because like you are a public figure or like a celebrity or an e-celebrity or whatever, I think you're still owed a little bit of privacy. Right? Maybe. I don't know. And the thing is, it's like I've spoken to people who have had public relationships or have like publicized certain things about themselves, whatever that might be. And it doesn't like improve your life, right? Like I was talking to a friend of mine and he was like, "Yeah, I just feel like I thought sharing would make people stop saying that I was trying to like hide my girlfriend or whatever." And then all that happened is that his girlfriend, who was not a public figure, just started getting an insane amount of harassment. And it's like, oh, that really actually sucks. Jesus. Wait, that person didn't sign up for that? What the fuck? Jesus. Ethan was bringing up Hasan's love life last week again. Like, does bro not understand why people don't want to share that, especially with his many death threats he gets? It's just so weird. It's so insane. It's like really... basically, the point is, when you share something and then that becomes public, that is a little bit on you, right? Like, if I shared something about my life and then people started attacking other people in my life or attacking me for that, that would be on me a little bit because I should know better. Especially Ethan Klein, who's been on the internet for like a decade, that like, oh, of course it's going to get used against me. Anything I share is going to get used against me by the people who like have a hyperfixation on me that hate me or whatever. And you can't control what other people are going to do. You can control how much you share. So that's the only thing that you should try and control for and try and work on.
And that's just true. Everyone kind of understands that the more about yourself that you put out there, the more you're exposing to the many insane people that exist on the internet. Ethan seems to understand this. He tries to limit sharing photos of his kids online, specifically for that reason.
I've literally given Ethan Klein credit for not showing photos of his kids. I think it is actually very cool of him to try his best to not have his kids in photos, in videos.
But when it comes to the CPS visit, Ethan has spent the months since it happened, lashing out at Reddit, other creators, anybody who he can get away with trying to hold responsible. And he has not for 1 second stopped and examined how he might have been responsible. Never has he said, man, I told that story in kind of a stupid way. No, maybe I shouldn't talk about my kids' medical conditions in front of thousands of people. Nothing. I mean, Ethan spent almost the entire year leading up to the CPS visit complaining about the internet and how many crazy haters he has. He even told the Giardia story in an episode where he was addressing those people. Idubbbz also pointed out that there were members of H3's own audience watching the story live who were making comments about the Klein household being covered in shit. And the point of that shouldn't be to say that one of them might have called CPS. The point is that even Ethan's
that was mad Denims. You could tell because her hair was on fire. It was red.
His own fans thought the story sounded a little crazy. So what do you think the people who are not your fans are going to hear? You know, the ones that the episode was literally about, that Ethan must have known would eventually see it.
The comment, the chat message that said Kaka Kleins, that's still like iconic, man.
Personally, I just don't give Ethan a lifetime pass for saying whatever he wants all the time. At some point, you are somewhat responsible for protecting yourself on the internet. And when people say things like this,
I think it's a problem that you are that open, Ethan.
They're not saying that Ethan is solely to blame. They're just saying he's acting like a moron. But Ethan's been given—
And again, you can't control what insane people on the internet will do with information about you. All you can do is try your best to like not share anything that you think will be important, right? And I think that that's, I don't know, I think that that's a good way to live. I think it is very important that if you start making content online, you should begin with the boundary of my life is personal. These are personal details in my life, and I don't share that stuff. And the stuff that I do share, I will share, and I will have fun, and we'll talk about it, and we'll have a good time. But anything outside of that, it's personal because I don't want to give this information to insane psychopaths on the internet. I want to share it with you guys who will be normal, but I don't want to share it with the insane people. So
green light by everybody to not only avoid any responsibility for himself, but also just lie about what happened. His claim is basically this. He told the Giardia story on stream in February. A few weeks later, Bad Banana published this video about it, where he maliciously lies and twists the story to make Ethan look bad. After that, Denims reacted to Bad Banana's video on her stream, but she didn't push back at it enough and spread his lies to her community. Her chat responded negatively to these lies, and then almost all of them started suggesting that CPS needed to be called. Denims did not moderate or discourage this behavior, and then one of her viewers must have called CPS. That's more or less Ethan's story. He calls this the big CPS lie.
She participated in the CPS lie, Child Protective Service lie. I explained it on the podcast, but the truth of the matter is it's all a lie.
So let's examine this narrative, and let's start with who he blames most directly for the CPS visit.
Denims endorses this clearly, as you can see, that it seems like she's directly responsible for CPS coming to my house in the morning.
But what did Denims actually do? Well, she watched this video on stream, and yeah, she expressed concern about what she was hearing. But expressing concern about something you hear is not the same as a call to action. It's not even the same as endorsing that action. Denims doesn't even mention CPS at any point during her coverage, and she never suggests a call to action of any kind. She just says the story is concerning and that parasites can be dangerous for infants.
I mean, much like many other illnesses, it's very, very, very dangerous when infants get the same sicknesses that adults get.
Which is technically true, by the way. But the point is that you can question somebody's parenting and not necessarily be saying that you think they deserve to have their kids taken away. And that's an important distinction, because after Denims threatened to sue Ethan for defamation, he started shifting the goalposts quite a bit.
I acknowledged.
Also, like, sorry, I'm thinking about how I want to phrase this. If you share this massive poop story, excrement Ethan, shut up. You share it on the internet with the masses. What, I can't watch it and be like, that's crazy. That is a crazy video. Why are you rolling around in poop? Why is he thrashing in the dark? Like, what? You're telling this story where you say with certainty who has caught Giardia and when. Not I think. You say it with certainty. Like what? I can't watch it and say that's disgusting. Like okay, man. Then maybe don't share a disgusting story if you don't want people to say it's disgusting. The jump from that to CPS was insane. It was actually insane. And then I think everyone who wanted to side with Ethan just like deluded themselves into thinking those were the same thing, even though they weren't at all.
Denims had denounced herself or anyone in her community making contact with CPS. And I do not believe Denims made a direct call to action to her audience to contact CPS, obviously, right?
Okay, so now we've moved on from this.
Denims endorses.
It was really funny that he completely retracted the statement and went from like, Denims did CPS to, I would never even begin to suggest such a thing. Ever.
She's directly responsible.
And the claim is now that she essentially primed her community to call CPS.
The point is not that you instructed your audience to contact CPS. The point is that you propagated the false statements that led to this incident, and you turned a blind eye to your chat urging people to contact CPS. His kids crawl around and eat shit, and her whole entire chat is saying to call CPS.
In his video about the CPS call, Ethan shows a cutout of Denims' chat during her coverage of the Giardia story. The cutout shows numerous chatters expressing concerns about the client's kids, with some mentioning CPS. The way Ethan presents this is as though Denims' chat was universally responding this way.
Notice the chat is almost in complete universal agreement. Call CPS. called child endangerment. CPS, social services. Bro needs to unironically call CPS. That's child endangerment, etc., etc. I'll let the chat play for you, but you can see just how crazed this community is. And once again, this is Denims chat, and it's pretty much 100%.
Guys, it's you guys. Look, you're on the screen.
Of the comments saying call CPS on them.
But what Ethan is showing here is in fact not 100% of the chat. This is a curated selection of chat messages that Ethan got from this Reddit post. In her response, Denims did the math, and between the first and last of the 65 messages that Ethan showed in his video, Denims had almost 1,000 messages sent in her chat, meaning the messages Ethan showed as evidence of her entire community being whipped up into a frenzy were only 7% of the messages sent during her coverage. And I also wanted to point out that several of the comments in that cutout, they don't even have anything to do with CPS, and they're very similar to a lot of messages from Ethan's own chat during the Giardia story.
Ethan's chat during the segment, stop smearing your poo on the walls and you'll be fine. Denim's chat message, filthy living millionaires in a shit-covered mansion.
So it would be pretty dishonest to include these as evidence of wrongdoing, meaning the actual total of CPS-related messages in Denim's chat is even lower than this. But Ethan doubles down on this outright false presentation the next day.
I'm not exaggerating when I say literally every comment is call CPS.
Yeah, no shit. It's edited. I don't know if Ethan knew this was an edited selection, or if he just saw something.
It's literally every comment. Meanwhile, it is literally not every
that
comment.
helped him out and didn't bother to verify it. But he immediately presented it as fact and used it to bolster his side of the story. And he tried to stand on it when he got challenged.
Love made a good point. You said, is this every comment? I believe this is a live feed of the chat. This isn't edited.
What about the top right? I thought these were
No,
selected.
it's this, I think when you full screen it. No, this is an edit. It's a cutout of the full chat. It's just enlarged there,
really?
over the screen. Yeah.
Oh, really? Love in the background. Oh, really? Oh, really?
You know what? We'll just make it all
Also, when has this chat ever fully agreed to anything? That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying.
I thought these were
No, it's
selected.
this, I think when you full screen it. No, this is an edit.
My mother is a social worker. She walked away when she saw Ethan's original video. Stop! You gotta love the delusion that Ethan lives in, where it's not possible at all that someone would ever be concerned from his original content. It must have been me propagating the lie of watching him talking uninterrupted.
It's a cutout of the full chat. It's just enlarged there,
really?
over the screen, yeah.
You know what? We'll just make it all up.
We'll make the whole thing up.
We'll
Let's
dock
get
a
a
picture.
picture.
We'll make it up.
So yeah, this was nowhere near her whole chat. But even if Ethan thinks that Denim still should have moderated better, which I
just make it all up. That's fine. We'll just make it all
can
up.
probably agree with, there's a pretty big difference between a failure to moderate and being causally responsible for any subsequent action. Denims does have an obligation to try to mitigate harm, but failing to fulfill that obligation doesn't mean that she caused the CPS call. Denims didn't cause the call, someone else did. So when it comes to responsibility, what's really left? Well, some people claim that Bad and Banana.
I did feel like part of this during this segment, or during this part of like internet history, I did feel like I was going a little insane with like the comments that were like, you literally did CPS. I'm like, there were chat messages. I am literally CPS. I am literally CPS. The however many chat messages, like 40 of them or something, that had the word CPS in it, it's like, over the course of 1,000 messages, it's like, sorry, I had to eagle eye every single one of those and then respond accordingly immediately. And you're going to just assume that I saw every single one. And I was like, yes. Aren't you assuming quite a bit about intention there? That's like, anyways, continuing.
Is notoriously bad faith and malicious, so Denim shouldn't have platformed him in the first place. But I mean, we're just getting so far away from any true culpability here. Like, what, Denims is responsible for the call because she watched a video from a guy who might be known to lie, and then a tiny portion of her chat responded to the lies, and Denims didn't delete every single one of them, and then days later the call gets placed, which could have been anybody, but we just assumed that it was Denim's fault because, I don't know. Like, is this really the—
You see, if you ignore all of reality, it makes sense. Did you think about that?
standard of responsibility that we're going to hold people to? At that point, Denims is so detached from the action of calling CPS itself, it doesn't really seem fair to blame her for it. But you know what? Let's accept Ethan's entire premise here. Let's say Denims is responsible for not moderating enough and for platforming these harmful lies without pushing back. What are the supposed lies? What does Ethan claim Bad Empanada said that was false?
Denims uncritically, that's you, played a clip of George Janitis, the human STD, a person whose Denim knows is clearly biased against me and a prolific spreader of misinformation.
Oh, famously, you never bring on people that are biased against other people you're talking about, right? That's why you brought on iDubbbz's trainer to talk about his sex life?
In the video Denims watched, George Janitis, the human STD, claims that there was dog shit all over my home, that I just leave it on the floor.
Okay, so first supposed lie, and we have to point out that again, this is something that Ethan's own audience intuited during the Giardia story. Ethan also has a document.
Dude, these H3 comments, caca just all over the place. Hila and Sunny ingested your poop, question mark? Stop smearing your poo on the walls.
History of talking about having dog
Those are
poop in the
H3
house.
comments.
My dogs are not extraordinarily trained, right? They run around, they play a lot, and sometimes, especially the little dogs, go potty inside. So, admittedly, my dogs are not the best trained, right? I admit that. You think my fruit is bringing?
I think you're half correct. It's half the fruit, and the other half is the dog shitting.
Love Shredder and Alfredo. I do, but I've stepped in their shit multiple times.
How many times do we get poop inside? What's going on here?
Almost every day that they're here.
It was a delivery guy. He stepped in shit.
But
holy shit.
Oh my God.
I stepped in shit and tracked.
Every time the dogs are there, they poop according to Zach.
It all over.
It's like a super, how do you call it? Like strings, you know, from one of the dogs. I was just passing my foot over it and felt a bump. It's old, by the way. It's hard.
So I'm sorry, it's defamatory to suggest that your house was covered in dog poop? Okay, moving on.
That my house is just covered in dog shit. My kids crawl around in dog shit.
You kind of made it sound like that.
Olive has Giardia. She had diarrhea. Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. He's at that age.
Okay, next.
He intimates that my kids either eat dog shit or get in contact with it with their hands.
No, actually, you intimated that.
It can go on surfaces and stuff. So Olive chews everywhere. So Sonny, it makes sense why he got it. You have to ingest my poop.
That is literally you saying that if Sonny had Giardia, he would have gotten it from contact with poop-contaminated surfaces.
That my children contracted a parasite called Giardia from the dog shit that is all over my house.
Okay, even if the dog poop wasn't literally all over his house, Ethan consistently likes to pretend that it's an evil snark narrative that his child did contract Giardia.
It actually turns out when we got all of the poop tests back, he never had Giardia even. And that's why they called CPS. Because my 10-month-old baby had diarrhea. Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. He's at that age. He has Giardia.
This is, I think, the craziest thing that I couldn't believe it when it was happening, like the mass psychosis by the fungi, saying that it was everybody else that was saying that Ethan's kid has Giardia. But he literally said,
Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. He's at that age. He has Giardia.
You said a factual statement. You didn't say, I think he has Giardia. You didn't say, I think he might be sick with something because he has diarrhea. You said he has Giardia. That's what you said. Those are the words you said here. It's literally.
Yeah. Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. He's at that age. He has Giardia.
He has Giardia.
We're just supposed to not take you at your word when you feel like it, and then take you at your word when you feel like it? You said it, man. Like, you literally, you said Hila has Giardia, Olive has Giardia, and now Sonny, he has Giardia. Like, and then later you said, I was just speculating, but it doesn't change that the statements you made were statements of fact. We're not supposed to take the poop expert at his word?
So I'm just kind of struggling here. Where are the defamatory lies?
She believes his lies, his defamatory statements. You did not disavow. You did not disclose the credibility of Bad Empanada. You uncritically platformed and agreed with the statements that I was putting my kids in danger.
We're talking about CPS, which anyways, to begin with, 1, I don't condone. 2, I've never condoned it, and you will not be able to find a clip of me saying, yes, we should do this, because it doesn't exist.
Just for
And the longer version of that clip, by the way, is me saying the only people that I think are questionable enough that they should have CPS called on them, the only people are the family vloggers, especially the ones that are like recording my daughter's first period. It's like, huh? I'm sorry, what was that? Why is the title of that video that? What the fuck is that video? What the hell? What are you making? What? Don't. And I feel like any reasonable person agrees with me on that. Please tell me that's not real. Oh, it's real. It's happened at least once. If you like vlog your children's entire lives, like, and you're like sitting there using them for content, all I will say is I do not like you. I don't. But that was a full clip. Anything outside of that, it's like, what the fuck? You don't know what someone is like as a parent. You just like don't. If you're recording everything your kids are doing and putting it online so you can make money that they're never going to see, I don't like you. If you do your best to not have your kids be on screen, okay. I don't know what your parenting looks like privately, so I can't comment on it.
The record, I don't think Ethan deserves to have his kids taken away. I think calling CPS over something like this was pretty crazy, and I think he's probably a perfectly fine dad. But that being said, the malicious lies that his entire victim narrative revolves around are just things that he himself.
It's not included in here, but the thing that they frequently try to put in there to say that like I was justifying CPS being called or whatever is me calling out that he has such a massive victim complex that instead of taking a second to like pull back and like reflect and say, okay, how did we allow this to happen? Like, is there anything we could have done that could have prevented CPS being called? Maybe not sharing poop stories where you say that like your kids have Giardia or whatever. It has to be everybody else's fault. And we're the real victims, which is the comment that I make before or after the sections that he's showing where I'm like, dude, can we stop? Like, you're pretending like the fucking SWAT team showed up with like a fucking tank and they bulldozed your house and then they like tortured your children or something. Like, how is it that your takeaway from this story is still that you are the world's largest victim and not, dude, what am I doing with my career online? Like, what the fuck? Like, okay, I really should stop sharing some of this stuff. It was a critique of his victim mentality, and then people saw it and they were like, no, you're just saying that you need to do that to the kids. It's like, all right, dude. Whatever you say, man.
Said. And this is what Ethan does. He puts things out there himself, and then if you use them against him, he just calls you a liar. He makes you uncomfortable with his jokes, and then when you complain about it, he says you're just trying to ruin his life. He spends months expressing incendiary political opinions, and then when you criticize him, he just says that you're probably a racist. He fumbles a story about his family's medical conditions, and then calls you a liar for repeating it back to him. Ultimately, one person is responsible for the CPS call. Not Hasan, not Denims, not Reddit. One random person that Ethan will likely never identify.
And Ethan, by the way, he even personally said that that CPS said that the call was from someone who knew him, and he just ignored it and said, they're probably lying to me. It's like, okay.
Because CPS calls are anonymous. But notice how this incident's been used. Suddenly, everyone who criticizes Ethan is responsible for trying to take his kids. Same thing with the skulls. One unhinged person is now proof of a coordinated attack. And this very convenient framing is deliberate. Ethan's been going after Hasan, Snark, and anyone else in his crosshairs for months, but I don't like what they said about me doesn't play quite as well as they tried to hurt my family. So now every grudge that he already had gets filtered through these incidents. Remember that Ethan was already going after all these people. The CPS and Skulls incidents just gave him the justification he needed to escalate.
And with that, Denims did Skulls. Denims literally did Skulls. Now, I saw the Skulls thing from a mile away. I was like, I'm not commenting on that shit. Nice try, buddy. Nice try. And then I didn't touch it at all. And he was like, stupid, sexy Denims doesn't want to comment on the Skulls. How am I going to blame her for it? And then I said absolutely nothing. I was like, all right, well. 2 out of 10 bait. Boring. Don't care. The next section is about the lawsuits. And again, I have to reiterate, this is like one of the best videos I've seen in terms of like accuracy and honesty. This is the first time I saw someone talk about how the statements that I made and some of the statements that Casey made are not even necessarily calls to action or statements of intent, but everyone seems to like have deluded themselves into thinking these things. And anytime I try to talk about it, it's like, well, you're a dumb woman and you're partial because you're in the lawsuit. It's like, okay. Sure, man, whatever you say, but I just want you to know words actually do mean things. And the statements that I made mean something different from the statements you think I made. But sure, okay. But anywho. Denims CPS, denim skull, denim shirt, denims hummus. Okay, this is what we're gonna do, Chad. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna pick this up. Oh, look, my worm. We're gonna pick this up tomorrow. All right.